gentlemen, it's time. Michael, it's time. Calm down. Calm down. You're too excited, man. You're too excitable with this.
Well, I don't have any Yu-Gi-Oh cards, so I don't think it's time to duel. So
no, it's not time to duel. I don't even know what that is. That's one of those things. No, it's not time. It's not time for Yu-Gi-Oh. It's time for the Rage Select podcast. You're Rage Select, and I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mike. I'm
too hungover to deal with Yu-Gi-Oh jokes this week. You gotta put that shit on hold, Michael. You know what? It's actually a really interesting week this week because, as near as I can tell, we don't have any super crappy news to deal with.
I'm okay with this.
Like, there's no EA didn't do anything bad. Like, Take-Two didn't do anything bad. Bethesda hasn't fucked anybody. Well, Bethesda had one questionable thing, but we'll get to that. Mostly this week, we just had a Nintendo Direct that was full of wackadoo crazy shit.
It's very nice.
To talk about. So yeah, we're gonna get into all that. We got all the news, and we got some questions coming up. Before we get into that, I have something that I need to talk to Rage Select about.
Okay.
So last week I watched an anime, and this anime was like my favorite anime right now. But the thing is that, okay, I'll start from the beginning.
Okay.
Last week I was looking for something new to watch. I was looking at those websites that are all talking about anime, and one of them recommended this series called Astra Lost in Space. And basically, it's one of those shonen shows with like a bunch of different characters. You know, the short of it is a bunch of high school students are going on space or going to space camp, and by that they're like going to another planet to go on camp for 5 weeks, and something happens and they all get lost in space, kind of Voyager style. They got a spaceship, they're way far from home from Earth, they got to work together, become friends, etc., etc. Oh my god, it's amazing. Like every episode, at least one time I was sitting here in my house by myself and I would just say, I like this show. Charming characters. Like, it's nice that it's something about space and it's something about high school that doesn't involve, like, you know, ninja high school or superhero high school, or like I got transported into an MMO high school.
Oh, okay.
Or like we're all super beings from another planet high school. Take your anime high school pick. It's just like a bunch of high schoolers, and they're all in space and they're having space adventures. It's very charming and very fun. The thing is that I want it to be popular because so far they haven't even announced a second season.
Oh, okay.
And the manga, so there's 5 volumes of the manga, and the show covers the first 2 of them, but the manga's on hiatus right now.
Oh, boy.
So, like, the best case scenario is that they plow through the next 2 seasons, and that in that time the manga starts back up again, but I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. So
it's a maybe. You never know.
I don't know. It's on Hulu. It's called Astra Lost in Space. It's like 10 episodes, and they're 20 or 30 minutes long.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's no big shakes, but I laughed. I cried. Well, I didn't cry. But I did laugh. I teared up once or twice. You know, it's anime, right?
Oh, yeah, I gotcha.
Didn't they discover it's all also there's a subplot about it's like these 8 high school students and like all their parents, they all come from families where their parents are shitty.
Oh,
so all their parents are shitty to them, and it's just like, well, that's a cheap trick anime.
It's a little weird that they all would be shitty. But
yeah,
okay.
I think it was one of them. One of them has like a normal parent. All the rest of them are just like, you're the worst. I hate you. Now go to school. Go to space school.
Get the robot Shinji.
That's right. That's right. So I don't know. I liked it a lot. And then
good.
I started watching Copcraft last night, but I don't know if I'm going to keep watching that because somebody recommended it on the Discord server based on talking about Cops, the old show, the old Saturday morning cartoon show Cops. But it's like, oh, I'm a cop in a world where there's like fairies and monsters and medieval shit coming through this portal. And I'm like, it's like Bright, right? I'm like,
God.
But I'm so fucking tired of medieval, you know? I'm so tired of medieval fantasy. It's just like the show starts out with them busting up a drug deal where some guys are trying to sell a fairy, and they're like, oh yeah, we can make this fairy into really good drugs. And I'm like,
that's interesting.
Yeah, I want more space and mecha in space. I'm like, fuck.
Mecha space.
Fuck. What about you? Have you found any brand new things? You've been doing anything really super interesting for the last couple weeks? I've been in game paralysis. Like, there's so many fucking games out that I just start playing them, and then I play like 5 minutes of a game, and I'm like, what about that other one?
Well, I got really back in the Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 when they released Cyclops and Colossus.
Yeah.
Free TLC, and I just went fucking nuts. and I leveled them up by like 30 levels.
Michael,
in
they're
a day or two.
8 quality games came out last week, and you're playing the DLC for Ultimate Alliance.
I didn't have money until recently, but later tonight I plan on playing the expansion to Monster Hunter.
Oh, Iceborne?
Yeah, because some coworkers of mine, they actually took time off of work to do that.
That's nutty.
And so I was just like, you know what, I'll join you guys real quick.
You got Game Pass though, right?
And so, the expansion is a separate thing that you have to buy.
Right.
So
No. I'm just saying.
Are you talking about the other stuff?
Like Blair Witch or Gears 5.
Well, I downloaded Blair Witch, which I planned on doing if I didn't buy anything this time frame.
Yeah.
But since I bought Monster Hunter, I'm gonna do that.
You know they put the Xbox 360 MGS 2 and 3 collection on Game Pass too.
I did not know that.
You can
but
just
I'll have to look into that too.
Do that. And I downloaded and started playing Metal Gear Solid 2 and was like, oh yeah, right, okay, good.
Yeah, I also rewatched the Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker, which I brought up for a second when we were playing Final Fantasy VIII last time.
Jesus Christ. We're in the middle of like, there's so many new things, there's new shows, there's new games. And you're like, I'm playing the DLC for Marvel Ultimate Alliance and watching like 8-year-old Batman shows.
I don't know what happened. I think it was like it showed up in my recommended feed for like somebody talking about it, and I was like, I have the DVD for that, and I haven't seen that in like 20 years.
Well,
it still holds up fairly well.
Well, I'm sure
it's still super fucking dark.
I'm sure it does. Okay. Well, I tell you what. Let's get into this Nintendo Direct because I don't want
a riveting life, people.
What's that?
I said I live a riveting life.
Well, you know. I guess it's just the right now. Even just the mainline stuff, like I haven't played Man of Medan. We played a little bit of Blair Witch, but like there's Astral Chain. There's River City Girls came out this week. There's just a shitload of stuff this week, and I don't know. And then I still need to finish like Fire Emblem, and
it still comes down to time, money, and I guess just wanting to, I guess. If
that's the problem with running a video game website is that I've got like 9 new video games and they've all got pretty decent scores. Yeah. So I'm just like,
the Monster Hunter stuff got really good reviews though.
God, okay, I was about to say you couldn't pay me to play more Monster Hunter, but you could pay me to play more Monster Hunter.
But you would have to buy. It's like a $40 expansion, so it's pretty expensive.
I would need that for free as well as several $100s on top from. So, Capcom, if you're listening, that's my price. Let's call it $300 total for 2 videos and a free copy of the Iceborne expansion, because for years people have been saying, oh, you like Dark Souls, you should play Monster Hunter. And I have tried so many times, and I'm just like, this is repetitive, and I don't really like it.
See, I'm told the opposite, and I said the same thing about Dark Souls.
Yep. Well, hey, you know what?
But I like Bloodborne a lot, but I think it's more the aesthetic of it.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. They're just... The problem with Monster Hunter that I have is that the goal of Monster Hunter seems to be to get more armor so you can hunt bigger monsters, to get more weapons so you can hunt bigger monsters, to get more armor so you can hunt bigger monsters. And it's like, but I'm not, like, if there was... I'm not
no lie in that sentence, by the way.
in hunting the bigger monsters. Like, it's fine, but it's just not exactly... Like, I like some story. I need some hardcore story. And I know that the latest Monster Hunter had story, but it was real weird and ambiguous. And it was
4 generations in this one have a story mode.
Yeah.
But they're very much just tied to... something's happened and we need you to go murder some stuff. It's like, cool, and that's really all it comes down to.
It feels a lot to me like Destiny or The Division or something like that, where it's a thing to play with your friends, and that if you're not like kind of in that, like if you want to just sit down and play a game by yourself, you'd be better off playing Control or Blair Witch or Man of Medan or
Monster Hunter,
Astral Chain.
I think Monster Hunter is actually it's a very relaxing game. I think even if you play it by yourself,
I've played that game. T-Rexes that chase you through multiple areas.
Yeah, but you're hunting that thing, so it's like hunting, just in like a 3D-ish world.
I don't go.
I find it very relaxing.
Okay.
So.
To each.
Also,
own.
You can just listen to stuff while playing it. So
okay, fair enough.
There's no real thing to focus on.
I mean, you know what?
Except for murder.
I'm playing like the 80th and 90th escalation for Hitman 2 at levels that I've been in for hours on end, so I don't have any room to talk. But I'd rather shoot people in the face than chase after T-Rexes with a big bone sword.
That's fine.
But that's just me.
I use the bow.
That's just me. Speaking of T-Rexes, there aren't any in this latest Nintendo Direct that came out this week. How's that for a really stupid segue? But no, we had a really bizarre Nintendo Direct. It was basically like, I don't know. It wasn't. It didn't have a theme, right? It wasn't like this one's for Pokemon. This one's for Luigi's Mansion.
It was kind of just, here's the thing.
This one's just all over the fucking place. Like, and I like these because, you know, the thing is that when they do one for Pokemon, I'm like, well, there's 40 minutes of Pokemon, and I'm not the biggest Poke fan in the world.
This one was really strange to me just because of the things it announced.
It's so many different weird things. But I mean, all of it makes me glad that I got a Switch.
Yeah.
They started with something that we basically knew about last week, which was Overwatch.
Yes.
So last week, there was a retailer that accidentally listed a Switch carrying case with the Overwatch logo on it, which would have been a really weird thing to sell if Overwatch was not on the Switch.
Very true.
Because you would have just been repping your Overwatch cred. But
like, if you would have found that on eBay or something, you're like, oh, it's just some custom thing.
Yeah.
But no, this is some official shit, so.
Yeah. So, yeah, Overwatch coming to the Switch. There's some, like, motion controls, I guess, that you can use, which, my God, why?
It's a little strange.
But it looks like, I mean, it's got all of the, you know, all the characters and whatnot. The trailer, you know, it doesn't, the nice thing about Blizzard games is that their art style is so strong that, like, even taking a little bit of a graphical hit, like, Overwatch is not necessarily like a graphics powerhouse to begin with. So it's not like having it on a slightly less technically beefy system. It looks good, right, from this trailer at least.
Yeah, downgrading Overwatch doesn't take away from it.
Right.
Unlike, say, like when I talked about that Mortal Kombat downgrade.
Or like Doom.
Or Wolfenstein or something like that.
Yeah, because it's already relying more on art style than it is on fidelity.
Like, it's already very cartoony.
Yeah.
And it's a very good saving grace for it.
Yeah. I don't know if I would be willing to. I mean, as somebody who already owns Overwatch on both the PlayStation and the PC, I don't know if I'm willing to go in and buy Overwatch again. Like, if I want to play Overwatch, I think I want to just play it on one of those other two consoles.
I think the thing is, the selling point for a lot of the Switch stuff is on the go things.
Yeah.
And I don't see that being a thing for Overwatch because it's an online game, for one.
Right.
And two, playing an online competitive game on a tiny screen isn't the best idea, I feel.
Yeah.
Even with the motion control stuff.
I mean, also the controls, I mean, like, just the default, I mean, I don't know, this is not a thing for everybody, but for me, like, I vastly prefer the Pro Controller because those little sticks, I mean, it's fine to play certain games on the Switch, but, like, I really didn't like the way that, say, like, Skyrim felt, like or Dark Souls, like the way that the kind of stubbier D-pads or the stubbier analog sticks, and then the triggers just are a little bit smaller than I'm used to with my big fucking ape hands. So, like, I really prefer to play my Switch games docked. Like,
no, I gotcha.
It's just a console to me.
I've done that with most of the games that I've played on it. Really, I think the Mario ones are the only ones I've really enjoyed in the handheld mode very easily.
Do you think they'll ask a full $60 for this? Because I mean, when it launched on the PS and the Xbox One, it was full 60, but then it came with a couple of free skins, like the Commander Morrison skin or whatever.
There was a 41 after a while, if I remember.
Yeah,
correctly.
well, and I think it launched on the PC for 40, but it didn't have those skins along with it. It was like one of those things where there was like it was like a, you know, the day one edition, and I'm like, well, I don't give a shit about those skins.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's too bad. There's only one edition, so. I don't know if this one's getting it's going to be full 60 or not. I bet it 40 maybe 50.
I would see it. Well, I don't know. Like I said, it's a tough one. It's been out for a long time. I feel like 40 would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Especially since it's way, way later into its cycle of life, I guess.
Yeah.
Plus, it's on the Switch, like I said.
No less than 40 though. I would say
no less than 40, but
40.
no more than 50. I feel.
Yeah. So that's coming out on October 15th.
Yeah.
From there, we got some Luigi's Mansion news.
My boy.
Yep. We got it was a very short trailer because it was just talking about like a couple of the different levels. Apparently, even though Luigi's Mansion takes place in a hotel, it's like, oh, here's the pyramid room. Here's the jungle room.
It is a haunted hotel.
But okay, did the ghost make that happen? Did
Sure.
the ghost make the pyramid?
Boo gets bored.
Okay.
King Boos get bored.
It also talked about like one of the weirdest multiplayer modes I think I've ever heard of, where it's like 4-on-4 on one Switch.
I think it's a fun idea though.
4 regular Luigis and 4 Gooigis to see who can get the most ghosts.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
I just don't know, like, I'm trying to figure out the scenario that occurs where you have a single Switch and 8 controllers for it, because I mean, I've got a single Switch with 2 controllers, and you could maybe think about buying 2 more controllers.
They're pretty. That would be a pretty expensive setup.
Yeah,
because it's $80 for like one of those pairs.
Yeah.
So
and you would need 3 of those. You'd $240. I mean, like, I guess your friends bring over their Switch controllers.
Sure. And they're pro controllers, maybe. I don't know. They're very expensive controllers, guys.
But then, like, why? But then, why put it all on one screen? Like, if you're catering to people that have friends with a Switch, why not make it like an ad hoc thing where everybody has their own, where 2 people per Switch or something? I don't know.
It might have that, to be honest. This is just what they're showing off.
Yeah,
because I've done that. We've done that with Smash Brothers.
That's true. It's very true. I don't know. I mean, it seems fine. I mean, I'm still going to give Luigi's Mansion a try. Everybody knows my feelings about Luigi.
I really love the Luigi's Mansion series a lot.
Yeah.
Because A, I love Luigi, and B, I love Ghostbusting.
Why does everybody love Luigi? He's shitty.
For us, it's because we're younger brothers.
Oh, because you're a younger sibling?
I'm a younger sibling, and so Luigi was the guy that I was given.
Oh, man.
And so very much as I have that... I know that feel, bro, kind of thing.
I am sibling prime, Michael. Not only am I the older, I have a sister, and I'm the older of those 2. But when all the grandchildren happened, I am the first. I am the first of all the grandchildren. I was spoiled like nobody's business. Of course, as time went on, then there was a new baby to be spoiled, and I was like 8, and they were just like, get in there and play Atari. We don't give a shit. That's why I do this job. Okay. Okay. All right. All I know is that, okay, so here's the reason that I don't like Luigi is because they started this thing starting with Super Mario Brothers 2 where Luigi, it's like, he jumps higher, but he kind of handles worse than Mario. And it's like, bleh. Like, especially Super Mario Brothers 2, he had that really super floaty jump, and you would always just end up falling and shit because you go up off the screen and shit like that. I don't know. And then from there, it was just like, hey, everybody, you love him. And I'm like, no, just play as Mario. Mario.
He's my bud.
Also, it's John Leguizamo. Who wants to be John Leguizamo? I want to be Bob Hoskins. Put your hand down, Michael.
I had his action figure, by the way.
Oh, God damn it.
I bought it at a flea market.
God damn it. I need some more Luigi haters. Hey, there's an open slot on Rage Select for people who hate fucking Luigi. So I can have one other person who's not just like, I love Luigi. God.
Luigi's pretty cool too.
I'm repping Princess, man. Bring me back another Princess game. From there, we got news about another favorite of mine, Kirby. This is like a weird free-to-play. I think we actually knew about this, or this had been announced before, but it's like 4-player Kirby boss fight rush online mode.
Yeah, there was a kind of a version of this on the 3DS as well, but I think you had to pay for the 3DS one. Or it was
just part of the paid game.
Well,
right?
No, I think it was actually like a separate. You could buy it separately.
It was like a DLC.
Kind of thing. Yeah, for the 3DS.
All right.
I think it was like $15 or something. It wasn't like an insane amount, but it was also like I don't really want to just do this over and over again.
I mean,
but it has that sort of idea of like 4 people versus just bosses, basically.
Yeah,
it's almost like a weirdish, almost a 2D-ish Monster Hunter-y kind of thing.
You know, the thing that makes me really nervous about it is that all of them talking about it, they always said free to start. And I'm like, yeah, what does that mean, Nintendo?
It very obviously means that you can spend more money to make your Kirby look more not like Kirby, I guess.
Or like, I don't know. All I know is that, I mean, I was thinking about, like, if this had been a slow week and it was during the summer, it's possible we might have done like a Patreon video or something for this, but I see no reason to play this. Like, the thing is that it's not even, like, Kirby's whole thing is to, you know, like, eating stuff. And here it's just like, do you want to be a mage Kirby or a fighter Kirby or like a support Kirby, and I'm like, no.
It's part of the reason why I didn't like the idea originally.
Yeah,
because it's the multiple powers is the whole point of Kirby,
right?
So just being stuck to the one version of Kirby is a little
in a weird like one screen MMO thing. I don't know. It's very strange.
Yeah, it's just like a boss. It's like Boss Rush from the original games, but with other people, I guess.
I don't know.
Or with 3 other people or 2 other people, because there was like a co-op mode for some of them.
I mean, at least it's free.
Yeah,
at least it's free. If you had to pay money for that, there's no way, no how.
I think it's the reason the 3DS one didn't do too well.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you're into Kirby and you feel like fighting bosses, you can get that right now. It's out now. It was out today. From there, they talked about Trials of Mana, which I'm actually really excited for because this was the 3rd game in the Mana series.
No.
The first off was never released in the United States except for at the Square conference at E3 this year. There was a remake version of it that had English text on it.
Oh, okay.
That they finally put out in the United States, but then they're also doing a full 3D remake of it for the Switch. And it's kind of interesting because there's 8 different characters, and you pick 3 characters to make a party, and whoever the first character you pick is your protagonist. So you get to see the story from a lot of different perspectives.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
But then it's also got the kind of, it looks like they're taking the kind of real time mana combat and then kind of making it a little bit more 3D. I don't know. I like Secret of Mana.
I think it's a nice idea, or not nice idea. I think it looks like it's a perfectly fun little RPG.
You know what? All I'll say is this: at least it's not Square just taking something, up-resing it, putting it on whatever the latest system is, and putting it out.
That's true.
There's some work that's gone into it. Well, okay, let's be clear here. They actually did do that with this game.
Yeah.
In spite of the fact that they were remaking it fully and that it's coming out next year, but I like the Mana series enough that I'm willing to do this. And hopefully they learned from their mistakes on the Secret of Mana remake with the fucking atrocious English voice acting that was just so goddamn terrible that I noticed it and couldn't get around it. But yeah, it's coming April 24th of 2020. Return of the Obra Dinn is coming.
This one I was actually pretty excited about because I don't have a PC that would be able to run this game very well.
Oh, yeah, because it's not on any of the consoles, right?
No, this is the only console it's been announced for.
Okay. And it's coming out this fall. I mean, if you need a reminder about what Obra Dinn is, you go back and watch Michael and I play it. Yeah, it was a really interesting game that I think I got about a third, maybe halfway through the game, and I got stuck. And I realized that there were only 2 ways out of this. One was me just sitting there. Well, there were 3 ways out of it. One was me sitting there trying to figure out what the game was trying to tell me and seeing if I had. There's nothing worse than playing a game where the only way forward is to figure something out and you just don't have any idea what the fuck you're supposed to do. Like that Agent A game that we played on Patreon, that was great because I was always just here, let's just try this. Bam, bam, bam. Oh, it's done.
That cup of water, man.
Yep. But this, it was I was down to try brute forcing it by just adding every name to every entry and see if something clicked, or go online and look up a thing about what do I do next, because I kind of did everything that I could. Because we didn't even get to the part where the sea monsters come out in that game. So
well, we saw part of a sea monster.
Yeah, there's a lot more. There's a lot more to it than that. So yeah, I mean, if you've never played Obra Dinn, it's a cool game, and also obviously it doesn't require a lot of huge amount of.
It's not a skill game.
No, I was thinking hardware power. It's not
Oh, okay.
Oh man, the Switch version of Obra Dinn looks like garbage.
It's kind of designed to look like an older game either way.
Yeah.
So.
From there, they talked about what the hell is this game called? It's like Hero Village,
Little Town Heroes,
Little Town Hero,
or something like that. It used to just be called Town.
Yeah,
when it was first announced. But yeah, they ended up giving it a different name.
And this is Game Freak, and it's like a weird RPG that all takes place in a town where you gotta throw some ideas at enemies in order to make them.
Curious as to how it works, because every time I look at it, I'm like, I don't know how any of this works.
Yeah, it's very strange. And apparently, you get to you can go between sectors of the town. Nobody ever leaves the town that they're in, and then one day monsters come in, and it seems like it's all going to kind of take place in this one town.
Yeah, it seems the rest of the town can help you out too.
Yeah. there's kind of it's got this weird like kind of chibi aesthetic to it.
Also, it's one of the stranger announcements that Toby Fox of Undertale fame has made all the music for it.
Right.
Or most of the music for it.
It's very strange. It's very strange. I don't know. I can't tell with this one. And it's going to be out in October.
Yeah.
I need to take a look at it at some point. What has this Game Freak done?
Besides Pokemon?
Oh, okay. That's who that is?
Yeah, they're the Pokemon guys.
All right.
I know they did one other game, but I can't remember the name of it.
Okay. I don't know. It seems okay. I mean, we've actually known about this game for a while, but...
Yeah, it was announced E3 last year, I want to say.
I think so.
Something like that.
I think so. Real simple announcement.
Yeah.
From there, we got some Smash news. First up was that Banjo-Kazooie was out the day of, which was last...
they love doing that shit.
What was that, Wednesday? Tuesday or Wednesday?
Like, Tuesday, I think.
Something like
that.
I want to say. So Banjo-Kazooie is out, and then we got a whole demonstration about Banjo-Kazooie.
No, it was Wednesday. Okay.
As previously stated... I never played Banjo-Kazooie. So
I never did either.
It was not one of the things where I was like, ah! But then we probably got the most exciting news for Michael of the entire week, which was we got this crazy like it was like it lined up all the consoles and then like went back through time to like the Super Nintendo era and then like went over to the Neo Geo, and then it was this weird thing where there's like an invitation to Smash Brothers, and all of the King of Fighters are trying to grab it, and they all keep missing it.
The geese one gets me every time.
The weird sprites were going everywhere, and like nobody can get it. They're all just like, crap,
like it's mine.
Yeah, and then finally it falls to the ground. Is picked up by none other than Terry Bogard.
Terry motherfucking Bogard, baby. If anybody's seen my hat, you know exactly why I'm excited about that.
He wears a Fatal Fury hat
a lot.
Yeah. I don't want to leave that ambiguous. Nobody. This is an audio podcast. Nobody's seen your hat on the audio podcast.
Well, they've seen it in an intro or two. I think I've worn it for an intro.
But yeah, Terry Bogard is going to be the last, I think, person in the. No, there's one more.
There's one more in the current Challengers pack.
Yeah. So, and there was a very brief amount of. They showed a little bit of it in the Pokemon or the Smash demonstration that came afterwards.
Yeah, it's like an 8-second clip of him doing some attacks, which was pretty exciting.
Yeah. So then he's coming out in November. And then when there's one more in the Challenger Pack 1, but there's also going to be a Challenger Pack 2 because of course there's going to be.
Of course it is.
How many Challenger Packs were there for the last one, for the Wii U one?
Not a lot. It was only like a handful. It was only like a handful of characters.
Yeah. Who are you holding out hope for? Who are you holding out hope for still?
Well, one of them is is Wonder Red from the Wonderful 101, but he's an assist trophy, so I probably will never get that.
Yeah.
As much as I would like to.
Okay.
I have a friend who's really, really, for some reason, excited the idea of Master Chief, and I'm just like, I don't think that's a good idea, but I could see it happening with Microsoft's like really interesting relationship with Nintendo recently.
I mean, I was just looking at I downloaded Killer Instinct off of Game Pass, and it was just like, oh yeah, this shit is lousy. With not Master Chief, but like, Arbiter, and then General Rom from Gears, and like Rash, and I was like,
the Battletoads.
This is a weird group. In any case, what I mean, what do you think is feasible? Like,
that's a tough thing.
Do you think they could put Goku in there?
It's a tough call nowadays, only because they seem to be fostering more relationships with other companies that we didn't expect.
Right.
Like the thing with the Persona thing, the thing with the Banjo-Kazooie thing was even a surprise for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see where this goes. Like even the Terry Bogard thing is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, I mean, like Namco Bandai. Bando Namkai. Namco Bandai, they publish Persona?
I think
they do the Shin Megami
I don't
Tensei?
remember if they're the ones who publish it or not.
Do you? I mean, I guess the thing is, like, it seems like when it comes to Dragon Ball Z, like they've really got their shit locked down between like fighters and that card game and the RPG that's coming out. That like they might not want to dilute it by having.
No, they would totally dilute that shit if given the opportunity.
Okay,
because Bandai Namco doesn't give a fuck.
What about like a Power Ranger? Do you think you can put a Power Ranger in there?
Well, like I said, it all depends on the companies because they can. All they have to do is ask them, like, "Hey, is do you think this would be a good idea? And if they get their permission, then they'll go for it.
I think I want All Might in there. I'd
be cool with this.
I think that would be a good fit for what they've got in there. Maybe All Might with the Midoriya like mirror fighter skin or whatever.
Amazing. I don't know. Like it's interesting now. I never expect. There's a lot of characters in this one I never would have expected.
Yeah,
and we're just getting a whole bunch of them every single time.
Yeah, I mean,
the sky's the limit right now.
Yeah, it's really strange.
No Mortal Kombat characters, most likely, though. Doubtful.
I doubt that.
I
doubt. Yeah. Hit the doubt button on that one. I'm just trying to think. Like, Resident Evil hasn't been in there, but then Resident Evil's hooked up with. Well, Capcom obviously has the Marvel vs. Capcom stuff.
Yeah, they've shown up in a couple things.
Have there been any Capcom characters in Smash?
Other than the Street Fighter ones?
Okay, yeah. Ken and Ryu, okay, they're in there. Yeah. God, Nintendo's got reach with that franchise.
The thing. That's what makes this one so interesting, because I never would have expected S and fucking Terry Bogard to show up. I never expected a Persona character, and we didn't even expect fucking Cloud that one time from the last one.
Yep.
Like, it's just like there's no limits to this right now.
Or wasn't Bayonetta a DLC for the first one, or for the last one?
Yeah, she was the winner of the voting contest.
Okay,
and she was the number one in Europe, I think, and she was like number 5 or something in the US.
Okay.
Like, I remember
because Europe has good tastes.
I remember the creator was just like, I love you, stupid weebs, so much.
Oh man. All right, so let's see. From there, we actually got a whole other set of news. So we got kind of a, I think we got a little bit of a kind of a just a bunch of stuff all at once.
Yes.
We saw some more of Link's Awakening, which is coming out really soon.
Very, very soon. And they showed off a little more of the amiibo stuff.
Yeah, you can transfer your dungeon creations to your amiibo. That's September 20th, so
very soon.
Couple weeks. Dragon Quest 11. We kind of just. I feel like I know Nintendo. Thank you. I know the Dragon Quest 11 is coming out. I know you can play it in the weird 2D mode.
They did a good job with that demo, by the way.
Oh, really?
A lot of people I know were like, I was on the fence, but then I played this demo for a long ass time, and now I'm going to buy the shit out of it.
Okay.
So they're getting some sales off of that thing, from what I can tell.
Okay. But then, did you and I were the ones who talked about this?
Yes, I don't remember when we talked. I don't even know if we talked about it on mic, but we did talk about this.
Persona, or no, Tokyo Mirage Session Sharp FE is coming to the Switch.
Yeah.
One of the weirdest games that you will ever play in your entire fucking life, and I'm so glad because I don't feel like a lot of people ended up playing it.
It is a Shin Megami Tensei Fire Emblem fusion game.
Yep. Not just that.
Yeah, that's just a small part of the premise.
But all the characters are like high schoolers who are trying to become idols, and they all sign up with this idol talent agency, and so they're idols. And then there's like, okay, so then you get the weird Shin Megami Tensei like, there's so much, what do they call it? It's like music force or like talent force or like talent something that's in this city that these demons are coming over from Shin Megami Tensei to consume the talent force of people. And then you summon basically like personas from Fire Emblem as a pop star and do a weird pop star Fire Emblem joint attack against Shin Megami Tensei. It's the weirdest.
This is all
thing.
Real, by the way. He's not making it 100%.
I mean, like, the thing is that you get into these weird things later on in the game where like a certain type of hit from one character will trigger a like jump in attack from another character.
Yeah.
And by the time you get to the end of the game, you've got it set up so that like, oh, here's an enemy, and I'm going to do one attack, and now it's going to be 4 minutes worth of everybody in my party jumping in to do this attack. Here's an assist attack. Here's this thing. And then, like, the fact that Chrom and the Fire Emblem characters, they're not, like, mute. They talk to the main characters about where they're from. They don't know how they've gotten to weird Japan. Like, they're from Fire Emblem. It's so weird, and I'm so glad that you don't have to have a Wii U to play it anymore. It's kind of charming and wonderful, and there's going to be a little bit of new content, new songs.
Yeah, we had discussed this at one point, just being like games that we felt from the Wii U that should show up on the Switch.
Yeah,
and this was like number one, really.
Yep.
And I'm really glad it was announced.
Yep. For anybody who has who likes JRPGs, who didn't have a Wii U and who does have a Switch, this is a great one. January 17th. I'm really excited. I don't think I'll be going back to play it again.
Oh, okay.
I played all the way through it. It was like 60 hours long. I did all the fucking side quests and everything. I did everything in that game. I sat here for like a month, and every weekend, like on Friday and Saturday night, I'd get a big 6-pack and just sit on my couch and be like, here we go.
I want to be an idol.
Yep.
Jeff said to himself.
Yep. I practiced a lot in my living room with the blinds closed. Anyway, that's great. And then, wait, more question mark? Crazy? Huh?
And then the weirdest fucking announcement I ever expected.
Yeah, because Deadly Premonition is back.
Yeah.
Deadly Premonition 2 is going to be coming out. It's going to be a Switch exclusive, Switch console exclusive.
I think so. And they're coming out with the first one.
It's already out.
Calling it Origins.
It's already out. It's on the Switch as of the announcement. So yeah, you can play Deadly Premonition 1 and Deadly Premonition 2. A Blessing in Disguise is going to be coming out sometime in 2020.
That's crazy. It's a crazy fucking announcement.
I do not know how some of these guys like. You know what? Maybe here's the thing. I've had a problem in my brain for a while, Michael. Like, how does Suda51 keep being able to make games? Because his games do not seem like they sell. But then I was just thinking
also,
about
they're fucking crazy as shit.
Maybe it's the thing is that in Japan, you can have a game that sells modestly, and unlike fucking EA or Activision, your studio isn't dissolved. You aren't thrown out on the street, and you're just like, oh, you didn't sell better than Call of Duty? Get the fuck out of here with your weird retro indie kind of bad horror game. Like, get out of this company. You're like, well, it made back a little bit, you know. I guess you can stick around. We can make another one, maybe.
The Blumhouse Productions is what you're saying?
I don't know. Is that how Blumhouse works?
Well, yeah, they just make really like fairly cheaper ones.
Yeah.
And then they do like decently enough to make a decent chunk of money.
Yeah.
And then they just keep churning those out.
Okay.
It's kind of like how it is.
It's like it doesn't have
but
to,
with less dick jokes.
It doesn't have to be like the Square CEO steps down in disgrace because Tomb Raider didn't sell like Call of Duty.
It sold like only 2 million?
Only 2 million instead of the like 8.5 that they projected.
Which makes no fucking sense, by the way.
Like, in any case, good news for every Deadly Premonition fan. Bad news for Jeff, who's going to have to put up with people asking if he wants to play Deadly Premonition 2 for a full sequential
or just the first one.
Years. Yep. We're going to get back to that later. Divinity Original Sin 2 is coming out, or is actually already out. Came out the day they were like, and it's out today, which everybody knows that I've got a big fat boner for Divinity Original Sin 2, even though I never actually finished it.
That was good.
Do cloud saves between Steam and Switch. Oh yeah, you were the one when I had it when I was just like, look, I know this isn't new, but you all need to know about this fucking RPG, all right?
Yeah, you were showing it to me, and I'm like, this is amazing. And I think this has the DLC stuff with it that came out recently.
I believe so. And then the closest we can get this week to something going from Bethesda is Pete Hines came out to say, we're putting out... Oh, oops, I accidentally rewound the whole video. We're putting out Doom 64 on the Switch.
Yeah, they're like, everyone's favorite game, Doom 64, said no one ever.
I'm like, isn't Doom 64 kind of like supposed to be a shitty version of Doom?
It's just this weird kind of version of Doom. I wouldn't say it's shitty, but it's just this weird version of Doom.
Okay.
Because it's the 64 graphic-y kind of thing, and I don't know. Like, I never really played it because I didn't have a 64.
Neither did I.
But I might give it a shot just to see how fucking weird it is.
I don't know, man. We already got Doom and Doom 2 on the Switch, right?
Yeah.
So, or wait, did those come out on the Switch?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if Doom 3 did either.
But, hey, man, if you want to play Doom 64 November 22nd, if you want to go into the comments and tell me why my sarcastic tone is unfounded because Doom 64 is actually the best version of Doom ever, I guess you could do that. It's a free country.
That sort of thing comes up every now and then. Like, I think I talked to somebody about Duke Nukem, and they were like, Duke Nukem 64 wasn't bad. I'm like, yes, it was totally bad.
I mean,
it sucked.
I guess if you had an N64 but not a PC, and that was the only way you had to play Doom, okay.
I could kind of see that.
All right. But, I don't know. Yeah, then there was this other weird one. It's like an online multiplayer shooter. Oh, I don't even remember what the hell this thing was called.
I don't either.
Rogue something.
I can't remember the name of it, but it looked like a nice
Rogue
thing.
Company. You know what it reminded me of is the what the hell? Am I just fast forwarding or not?
Yeah, you're just kind of
Okay, there we go. Yeah, Rogue Company. This is from High Res Studios, which, if I remember correctly, they've done. Their track record is not the greatest, but it's just like, here's a third person shooter with like some weird, I don't know, customization stuff. You know what it reminds me of is there was a game on the Wii U that was kind of like this, that was like a real,
wasn't it that
gritty third person shooter type of thing.
I know which one you're talking about too.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of it, but it didn't last very long.
No. Oh, so they did like Paladins and that other one.
I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, Paladins and Realm Royale and Smite.
Oh, okay.
So that's
I liked Realm Royale enough.
It was all right.
I thought it was fine.
Anyway, oh my God, I keep skipping the wrong direction in this video. From there, we talked about Pokemon. So Pokemon Sword and Shield. It was weird because there was like, hey, from there, let's talk about Pokemon. Here, 5 things you need to know about the new Pokemon game. Number 1, you could change clothes. Number 2, you can cook curry. Number 3, you can camp and pat your Pokemons. Number 4, you can go to other people's camps and pat their Pokemons. And number 5, I don't remember.
It was it showed off a couple more Pokemon. One of them was like a bird.
Yeah, one of them was like a pot of tea. And
one's a pot of tea for some fucking reason.
And if you get it, like maybe you could taste the tea that is the monster that's inside of the teapot.
It's a little strange. They've because it's like a ghost in a teapot.
Yeah.
Although it's not the weirdest thing I've ever seen them come up with, because they did the set of keys. It was a Pokemon.
They're running out of Pokemon ideas.
They really are.
What if it was Post-it notes? Oh, Post-it notes.
There was an old Flash video I saw where they're like, what if we do God? It's like, well, we already did that like 4 times.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm not the biggest Poke fan in the world. I'm definitely going to play this.
The customization, though, is a lot more intricate than the other ones were, though.
Yeah, that's...
Because you could change outfits in some of the others, but this one now has like this more makeup-ish kind of setting, too.
Yeah, but like what they said that in the previous ones, you could change like your shirt and your pants, and now you can change your shoes and your gloves, and even your hairstyle. And it's like, let's calm down a little bit about this Game Freak. Like I
said, a little more intricate.
Yeah. I don't know if you're on the fence though. If that's going to make you do stuff. But hey, maybe if you're on the fence about getting Nintendo Online, there'll be a new reason to get it. And that's because there's a bunch of crappy Super Nintendo games on it now.
Well, they're not crappy Super Nintendo games. They're just ones that are on everything else. Except for one of them, apparently.
Well, okay. Here's the deal. Okay. So the story first, there are Super Nintendo games on the online pass.
Yes.
When you look at this list, there are a lot of these games that if you are a fan of Nintendo and of the Super Nintendo in general, like half of these are on the SNES Classic. And I realize that not everybody has the SNES Classic, but like I've had access to Super Mario World, Link to the Past, F-Zero, Star Fox and Super Metroid for a while. Like the first thing that Nintendo tends to do is put those games out. And the other games are weird.
Well, you're not a fan of Kirby, so.
Well, it's not just Kirby, though, and it's not just that I don't like Pilot Wings very much either.
Okay.
It's the fact that, like, Brawl Brothers or Joe and Mac 2 or, like, Super EDF, which is not EDF. It's like a side-scroller.
Yeah.
Like, I checked. Like, the Demon's Crest, the spin-off from Ghouls and Ghosts where you play as Firebrand instead of
that's right.
what's his name, and, like, Super Soccer, and I mean, okay, fine. There's plenty of games for plenty of people. I'm not trying to say that this isn't great. It's just that the whole problem with the NES library was that it was kind of anemic, and like outside of games that I've had access to again forever, there's not a lot on here that's like, kind of.
Well, yeah, that's really the only downside to it is a lot of these, like they've done with the other, like with the Nintendo stuff. These have come out a million times over.
Right.
Like I can buy Super Mario World on my 3DS. I could have bought it on my Wii U,
the Wii U,
fucking the SNES Classic.
Yeah,
I technically own it for my original Super Nintendo.
Yep.
It's all over the place. Is the thing. And the only other game they announced that wasn't here, I forgot what was the name of it. I think it was Stunt Race FX, I think is the name of it.
Oh, yeah.
There was one they're like, it's never been released on anything else. It's like, but no one wanted it, so that's probably why.
Yeah, they did that, and they were just like, oh, man, for the first time on any platform, it's Stunt Race FX. And I'm like, bitch, I played Stunt Race FX. It sucks ass. It's like a bad old 3D like racing game. Like, are you kidding me? Why would you ever play Stunt Race FX when F-Zero was there?
That was the thing. Yeah, I looked at it. Like, I was like just looking at it. It's like, come on, guys. Like, this is not exciting news.
Yeah. So, in any case, I mean, like, hey, good on them. We're going to come back to this a little bit later, but...
See, I'd be excited if they had, like, somehow were able to get, like, the license to Ninja Turtles 4 or something. Like, something crazy, like, something licensed that has not really been easy to get, but that's probably never going to happen.
Yeah. Or more RPGs. Like, the only RPGs that was on there was Breath of Fire, which is, in my opinion, a little, like... Like, wasn't Tactics Ogre on SNES? Wasn't there a Tactics Ogre?
I think so, and I think Super Mario RPG was on.
I've never played Super Mario RPG.
That
so
game's a lot of fun,
that.
actually.
But there's like there are plenty of other games to play there. Also, I mean, as I kept mentioning, we've got like right in the middle of like we're at the beginning of the game delusion. It ends at the end of November.
Yeah.
From now until the end of November, new games are coming out. So
it's gonna be like this for a while.
Also, if you got $30, you could buy a little Super Nintendo controller that will, I guess, only. It's weird because John was telling me, and I couldn't find anything to contradict that. This will only be available to play the Super Nintendo games on the Switch, even though it has a second set of shoulder buttons. Like,
does it have a second?
Yes. Like, here are the big ones, and then these little ones right here are the smaller ones. They actually show it really briefly, and it's got like. So technically, it has all of the control surfaces that that one of the Joy-Cons has.
That one I'm not sure on because I know they said that the original Nintendo one I think only worked on those Nintendo games.
Yes, it did. It 100% did.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same kind of idea. Plus, you also have to be a online member to even order these.
Yep, and they're
off of their site.
And they're $30 for one controller, which I think the other ones were like a pair.
Something like that, yeah.
They came in a pair.
Yeah, they came in a pair, but they're about the same. About 40, I think, was for the both of them.
So in any case, I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if you couldn't use them to play Switch games, even though I mean, like, what about that Luigi's Mansion multiplayer that we were talking about? Could you use one of those for those? Seems like it's got all the same buttons, and I'd rather use that than the teeny tiny. You know what, Nintendo? You need to realize that some of us have monster hands. Like some of us have big ass hands, and I need a big controller for my big hand.
He needs a man controller.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be more than happy to use a small controller. But the Joy-Cons, like, I can put one inside of my hand and close my fist, and you will not see the Joy-Con when my fist is closed. Like,
luckily, it's not an issue for me because I have smaller hands.
God, it was the reason I hated the first 3DS was because it was like cramp your hands all together
really
and then
small.
hunch over it, and I'm like, oh. So, come on, Nintendo. There's a bunch of new stuff coming to Tetris 99. Fuck, we're going to have to split this into two parts. Bunch of new stuff is coming to Tetris 99. There's like a new pro mode, and there's like some daily missions, and whatever. You can get like avatars and themes and stuff.
There's also like an 8-player kind of thing or something.
Yeah, like an ad hoc multiplayer mode where you can have a bunch of people with your Switches together and play.
Which I think is kind of cute. Kind of cool.
It's fine. It's fine. All that's coming in September 6th. We got a little bit more about Mario and Sonic at the Olympics.
Yeah.
The biggest thing here seemed to be that they're adding in like 8 different games that you can play in like a retro mode that has strangely the 16-bit Sonic sprites and the 8-bit Nintendo sprites.
It's very strange.
Which is a little bizarre.
And it has a story mode.
And apparently has a story mode, which appears to be that everybody gets sucked into the 8-bit mode or the 2D mode, and then you got to just go through and do that stuff. So, I mean, as somebody who's not super into sports games or Olympics games or Sonic for that matter, my excitement is maybe low.
I never expected Mario and Sonic at the Olympics games to be a franchise that has lasted this long.
Yep, I agree. I remember back in the day when they were at each other's throats all the time.
Exactly.
So
they used to do what Nintendo don't.
Yep. Demon X Machina got another demo, which is actually the prologue to the game, and your save data will go into the game.
Yes.
And yeah, this is coming out, I believe, next week. If I'm not mistaken, like on Friday of next week.
But the full game?
Yeah, the whole game. Which I don't know. It's weird. Like I feel like I'm still kind of interested in this. I just hope it isn't as like grindy as like a front mission where you got to just do this one again to get more points. You can unlock the thing you need for the boss battle.
Yeah, I hope it's more exciting than the way the Armored Core games kind of were.
Yeah,
especially in their later years.
Oh yeah, not front mission, Armored Core. Did I say front mission or Armored Core?
Oh, you said front mission.
I mean Armored Core. Front mission. Well,
that's a spinoff, isn't it?
No, front mission was the Square Tactics RPG that then became weird. That then became like
that Metal Gear-ish
a third-person shooter, and then turned into Left Alive.
That's right.
Yeah. Goddamn, guys, you just not make another tactics game? Like everybody likes some tactics games. So anyway, yeah, and then another like. What? Who? What? Wait. What?
This caught me off guard, but I'm actually slightly excited about it because I really like Kyle Katarn.
Okay. Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast is coming to the Switch. Why?
Yeah, there's actually no explanation for it. They're just like, yeah, we're coming out with this. I'm like, cool, I guess.
Like, did they already put Dark Forces out? Also, I'm interested, all of the stuff they show is gameplay. And here's the thing. I don't know if this game is going to hold up as well as people think it's going to hold up.
I don't think it's going to be honest.
Like, it was, well, first off, it was maybe played with a mouse and a keyboard. Like,
there were console versions of it.
Of Jedi Knight 2?
Yeah, yes, there was.
On what?
The GameCube and I think the Xbox. I think it also came out on PS2.
Really?
Yeah, I had a friend. I literally just talked to a friend about it because he was telling me, he's like, yeah, I remember when I bought this on GameCube, and I remember seeing it on GameCube, but I first played it on the PC originally.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. This is all with all the live action cutscenes, right?
I think it's been a long time, so I'm actually not sure on that one.
Pretty sure it is because it was. Wait. This is the third one, right? So it's Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight, Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast.
Yeah, it's the third one because I think you're thinking of another one.
I think I'm a Jedi Knight. But I still just like, this is, when the fuck did this game come out? This is like,
it was really,
it's like an
early
oldie.
2000s.
Yeah, like I'm not in, if they want to bring back Kyle Katarn, that's fine with me. I liked those franchises. It's just, let's see, 2002. So this is like almost a 20-year-old game.
It's really old. I remember playing it at my brother's. And he had a bunch of mods of for the online mode.
Yeah,
so I was running around as Spider-Man with a lightsaber.
I think I tried playing Jedi Academy. I think we tried playing a few of these
Jedi
games.
Knight 3, right? Jedi Academy?
No, because it's not about Kyle Katarn. It's like a spin-off. Like,
God, that's the thing about these games.
Because you create your own student in there and then go talk to Kyle and Luke and they send you off on missions and shit. Yeah. Like,
either way, it's just crazy.
It's real weird.
But I have a very big soft spot for Jedi Knight 2.
It's bizarre. It's bizarre because there is a Star Wars game coming out this year, and like, has anybody been clamoring to get Jedi Knight 2 on the Switch?
I can't think of anyone who asked for this.
I
know people who love this game, but no one ever has said I would love this game again.
This is a real Deus Ex situation where that's why it caught me so far off guard because I was like, wait, what?
It's fucking strange.
Why?
Like, I think it's great, but at the same time, I don't know where it came from.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know why anybody would be interested. I don't know. I guess September 24th we get to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can also think of about a dozen other Star Wars games that would be better if you're just going to go back and start re-releasing old Star Wars games. Like,
I love all the Rogue Squadron games to come out again.
All the what?
The Rogue Squadron games.
Oh yeah,
because all of those were Nintendo games.
Yeah, that would seem like a better fit, right? Yeah, because they were Nintendo games.
You come out with all three of them at once, really.
Yeah,
easily.
Yep. Right on. Well, let's see. From there, we got another kind of like montage with The Witcher. And they're putting out Assassin's Creed Black Flag and then Assassin's Creed Rogue.
Yes.
On the in December of this year, which I think Rogue is criminally underrated, and I think anybody should get a chance should play it.
It's also the prequel to Unity, apparently.
Is it?
Yeah, I found out the ending is a prequel, or connects it to Unity.
No, I never finished it. I do know that this era, that the 4 and Rogue era, was like the last time I liked Assassin's Creed. Well, I thought that
That's the last time I played them all the way through.
steampunk one was okay.
I started it, but I never got far.
Brother and sister. What was that? Not
Syndicate.
Syndicate. There you go. Was okay. So yeah, and then Dauntless is coming to the Switch. So if you want to get your free to play Monster Hunter on, you and I didn't have a very good time with this on the Sunday stream, but
it literally froze on us and we couldn't get out of it.
yeah, but I'm starting to wonder if I don't know. Like, I'm starting to wonder if you should go back and play it.
Well,
at some
the thing
point.
is, I didn't hate it at the time. It's just that I didn't get to really play it all that much.
Yeah,
because you remember, like, I was like, I could get into this, and then it decided to just be like, well, we're gonna wait for a lobby for like 3 hours.
Oh, right.
And that's why I was like, well, fuck this.
Yep.
That's literally the only reason I stopped.
Well, I guess now you can get on the Switch. You get on your Switch, play it on the go. Let's see. From there, we got another montage. Outer Worlds, Devil May Cry 2.
Everyone's favorite Devil May Cry.
Yeah. Vampire is coming out. And you know what? I watched this the day that I watched this. So, Michael, the day that I watched this video, Amanda and I recorded a whole bunch of Control, and I was super sleepy. And I was waiting to record the Blair Witch videos with Matt, and I didn't want to caffeinate until Matt got here so I could be all up for those videos.
Uh-huh.
And this next part almost killed me. Or almost,
Okay.
I almost fell asleep at my desk because it's Animal Crossing.
Oh, okay.
And I, like,
I
look.
thought you were gonna say you got a cuteness overload or something.
Oh, fuck no. I hate Animal Crossing with a passion. At least in The Sims, you can make, like, your life, right? You can, like, pretend like you can make your own apartment and then upgrade it and be like, what if I was rich? But, like, it's like, hey, Tom Nook's got a tent for you to live in, and you can make a chair out of wood, and you can pick apples. And
I actually didn't watch this part at all.
Oh, my God. Look, man, I know some people like relaxing games, but I play games to be stimulated, not relax. Like, I don't play games to just be like, after a hard day at work, I need to just chill out by playing Minecraft. I'm like, after a hard day at work, I need to murder a bunch of people to get my rage energy back down.
Yeah, like when I said that I like Monster Hunter because it's relaxing, it's because because this is too relaxing. The Animal Crossing games.
Yes.
Because it's just like, well, what's the point of being this, like...
You build a house, man.
It's like you're just doing chores and stuff. It's like, I don't even do that in real life.
No, man, you got to get some wood so that you can build a fireplace. And then you can sit by your fireplace. And all your friends can come and join into your game and sit by your fireplace. I'm like, that's not a game. That's wasting time simulator.
People love this shit, man.
I know. I don't get it. I don't really get it. It's not for me. You gotta. Tom Nook gives you a cell phone. Did you see that thing? I don't even know if we ever talked about it. I think it was after E3 this year where they came out with a thing about Tom Nook because, like, in the day and age in which we're living, there are people out there who are like, I'd love to play Animal Crossing, but the fact that Tom Nook needs you to pay back like 30,000 bells that he gives you at the beginning of the game, like, it makes me so stressed out that I can't relax in Animal Crossing because there's essentially a landlord breathing down my neck. And then they said, like, there was like, it was almost like a statement from Tom Nook where he's like, look, you can pay me back whenever. I know you're good for it. You're responsible. You don't have to do it. Like, look, you'll get to it eventually. Just do whatever you want. And then, like, when you get the time, pay me back money. And I'm just like, this whole thing is fucked up. This whole thing is super fucking weird.
The thing is, that statement sounds like Tom Nook is going to break your legs eventually.
Right.
Because he's just like, I know you're good for it. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yep. Now stop tweeting about this.
It's almost like he's like, because I'm in public, I have to say it like this instead of like, I'm going to come for you and I'm going to break your legs.
Yeah. So,
or his neighbor's legs because he has to get the money for him.
Who knows, man? I didn't used to even though I just got finished talking some shit about Minecraft, hey, you know what? I didn't get Minecraft until I really played it. And because the last Animal Crossing was on the 3DS, I never was forced to play it for the show. So when this comes out, we'll play it. And I guess maybe I'll be like, oh my God, I get it now. Tom Nook, you're the best. Please don't
I don't think
hurt
anyone
me.
has ever said that.
I mean, the people that like Animal Crossing really, really, really fucking like Animal Crossing.
Oh, dude, they adore it. They will fight people.
So, yeah, but this just looks like boring as hell to me. Like, I guess it's one of those things where, like, if you have to make a fire because the temperature will kill you because it's too cold, like, that's one thing. But this is just like, I made a fire so I could sit my avatar in front of the fire and go, yeah.
I like with this video on mute when it shows him just sitting there by himself.
Yep.
It just looks sad.
Just staring off into the distance.
He's just like, well, I did it.
Yep. I mean, you could always go outside and build a real fire.
Yeah.
You can, like, grill hamburgers or just, look at it.
Can play another game.
Play a different Switch game. You can play Monster Hunter.
If you guys like Animal Crossing, more power to you, but it's just not for me.
Yeah, I agree. I don't entirely. I mean, I get that some people play them to relax. Again, I don't find it. That's not why I play video games. Because they were like, oh, look, there's like a pole vault that you can use to, like, get between places by pole vaulting, like, over rivers, and it's like, okay.
Cool.
All right, great, wonderful. So anyway, Animal Crossing. If you want to know more, go watch the video. Don't listen to me. You can play with your friends. You can all sit around the campfire
and do nothing
and stare into the distance and emote.
Yay! Question mark.
So yeah. And then last but not least, I kind of wonder about this. They're re-releasing what is it? Xenoblade Chronicles.
Okay. Is it one or two, or is it both?
The first one.
Okay.
The one with what's his name? Is that Shulk?
Shulk. Yes.
Yeah.
I think they also they had originally released it again on the 3DS as well.
Yes, they already have put it out on the 3DS. So they released it. It was a Wii game, and they put it out on the 3DS, and now they're releasing it on the Switch. I at first thought it was going to be Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Okay.
But I think nobody liked that. I've tried playing Xenoblade Chronicles a bunch of times. I've never really enjoyed it all that much.
My friend really likes it. He showed it to me, and it's funny because in Smash Brothers you can use the version of Shulk without a shirt on, and he looks like a teenager. Whereas apparently in Xenoblade Chronicles he's like super fucking buff.
Oh,
like compared. So it's like, what happened to the character model in between this?
Yeah, there was also there was a series of games that came out for the Wii where there was a whole thing, right, where Xenoblade Chronicles came out in Japan and then they weren't going to put it out in the West.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So like people got together and they announced there were like 3 different games that were going to be coming to the West. And Xenoblade Chronicles, I feel like, gets remade and re-released all the time, but the other ones I thought were more interesting, and they never really got Operation Rainfall. Yeah. So Xenoblade Chronicles, the last story was the one.
Oh, that's right.
That was a little bit more interesting. And then there was a third one called Pandora's Tower that I don't think I ever actually played. That were 3 different games that this Operation Rainfall was put together to get released in the West because they weren't going to release them in the West because they were like, Westerners don't like JRPGs. I'm like, have you met them?
Yeah.
So it's funny because they keep putting these out, but like Pandora's Tower's never been released outside of on the Wii. And some of these games were like really crazy. Like I remember playing the last story and it was like a really weird, kind of interesting video game.
That's the thing, is there's a lot of games from the Wii time and the Wii U that I feel like really should get re-released.
Yeah. So yeah. And you know what? We go it for a whole hour, so I guess we're going to have to do a no questions week. I'm sorry, I even asked people for questions in the Discord. We will try. We'll try to zip through. The rest of the news isn't quite as big. We
could probably get through some of them.
We might be able to get to a question or two. Yeah. So we will try our best. But for right now, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to do the other half of the news. And unfortunately, Nintendo Direct took up all of part 1. So, you know what? We're going to see how much we can do here in part 2, and then hopefully we'll have time for a little bit of questions. So, yeah, at the end of... So we talked about all the Nintendo stuff. there's actually a few more Nintendo things that came up that were not in the Direct.
Yes.
The first one being that apparently, when they've been putting new Nintendo games on the online every month,
Yeah, it's
right?
like two
or
per
three. I think it was three.
It varies.
Anyway, they announced they're not going to be doing that anymore.
Oh.
But they are going to be basically what this is saying is that they are going to be from time to time adding games to the service, just not on a monthly schedule, which it's weird because it reminds me a lot of you remember back when on the Wii when they would put out hey, Earthbound's coming out, make a big deal about putting out Earthbound. It kind of feels like they're going back more towards that, which I mean, and not to just hammer this point like there's no tomorrow, but goddamn, PlayStation Plus and Game Pass and Xbox Live are solid values.
Absolutely.
100%. The shit on Game Pass is unreal. And even that, I mean, next month Hitman is going to be on Game Pass. And Sony's done a really good job of putting stuff up on PlayStation Plus. I usually own all of it, but hey, man, free games for a year.
Yeah,
for
Arkham Knight
$50.
just popped up recently too.
Oh yeah. So it's the value proposition here. I think it really shows that Microsoft and Sony are fighting each other for market share, and Nintendo's just we're just gonna do what the fuck we feel like. We're gonna put out old Nintendo games every once in a while. Who knows?
Here's a Super Dodgeball. It's what?
But then I also feel if you're playing online multiplayer games, you've got to have the online pass, right? And it's cheaper, but still, it's just kind of
well, their online isn't the best to begin with, so is the issue.
I mean, how many online games? What's the most popular online game on the Switch? Is it Splatoon 2?
Probably.
Yeah.
Smash probably would be if the netcode probably worked better.
Oh yeah, there is Smash. So okay,
and the Mario Kart I think is also up there too.
Oh yeah, Mario Kart 8 probably, and then I guess they got Overwatch coming, so there's a fair amount of games to play online. But this is just kind of weird considering that I was oh look, they put Super Nintendo games on, that's a good value, and then they're but not every month, and it's oh,
kind of destroys the point.
It's 2 steps forward, 3 steps back kind of thing. So
if you do it in chunks or in bulk kind of things every couple of months, then sure. But
I mean, if it's
weird.
Every 3 months we get 9 games, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, exactly.
But, if it's one game every 4 months, then it's
then fuck you.
It's
gonna be another fucking balloon whatever thing,
fight
or something something like that no one gives a fuck about anymore.
Right.
It's just always gonna be those games.
Ooh, Wrecking Crew.
Exactly.
Ice Climbers.
1,000th time.
And then also we got a teaser for this new. They're putting out a new thing for the Switch, and it's a weird wheel. That's a resistance wheel, that you the size of a steering wheel that you can kind of bend together. You put one controller in, and then a little loop that you put on your leg that has a second Switch controller on it, and then it looks like you're going to be doing a new kind of fitness thing where you bend this wheel and you turn it and you shake it and you move all around and do stuff.
There's a lot of weird shit going on with it in this trailer. People are extending on it, shaking the shit out of it, holding it up in the air.
Laying on the
what
floor.
The fuck's going on with this other one that we just saw?
It's weird because they don't show any part of what the game portion of it's going to be.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of just live action of people bending this wheel and being wackadoos in front of their friends.
Some of it makes sense because some of them look like workout positions, but some of them are just well, what the fuck is happening with this one?
Yeah. And then there's do you think they'll bring back the Wii Fit trainer? This is Wii Fit 2?
It's possible, but there's a lot of different things going on that doesn't really feel like a fit kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's probably part of it.
I don't
know.
I don't know. I mean, you know what? Wii Fit was very popular, right? You could get the balance board anywhere for a while.
The balance board did a lot of stuff too.
Yeah.
You could use it for Punch Out and stuff.
Yeah. Maybe you can use that big wheel to play Mario Kart.
I wouldn't be surprised if it is a wheel.
Yeah. So we're going to find out more about that on September 12th. That is coming. And, hey, you know what? Look, no matter what you may say about any of this stuff, that we talked about in the first half, about any of this wheel or whatever that stuff, getting a Nintendo Switch is a good thing, right?
It really is.
Like, it's just, there's a lot of stuff for it. There's a lot of weird games out there. There's a lot of good, the back catalog stuff from the Wii and the Wii U that they're putting out on it, as well as putting out stuff like, if you're into Mortal Kombat and Doom, maybe you want to play those on an Xbox One X, but like, if you like Mario, like they've done a good job of keeping a consistent flow of titles to keep me going back to my Switch, as opposed to the Wii U, where it was like, there are 3 things a year on this that I want, or I was interested in.
And that's generous.
Or even the Wii, because I don't like the motion control, so it was like, I was interested in that Xenoblade Chronicles or like Last Story, right? But I didn't. When the new Call of Duty came out, I did not want to play the Wii version of the new Call of Duty.
I still have a great idea for a motion control game.
No such thing exists. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I wanted. So there's the Wii version of Call of Duty had this melee thing.
Yeah.
So to do melee, you use like your controller to like move it.
Right.
I was like, why don't you make a Guitar Hero game that has that melee function? So if you start playing bad, the audience comes at you and you can just melee them off of you. I think that would be a great idea.
So like that Nintendo Music game meets like Punch Out?
Yeah, basically. Exactly.
Okay.
That sounds awesome, doesn't it? You're just playing like Led Zeppelin, but you're fucking up, and then some drunk dude comes on stage and you have to melee them off with the motion control.
No, I don't want to play that game.
I think that sounds amazing.
I don't want to play that game. I don't want to play any motion control game ever in the history.
Well, it's just the one motion. Like, it's not like you have to do it.
Was it on the Wii where like there was an Assassin's Creed game or something where in order to choke people out, you had to literally like put the controllers together and pretend like you were actually choking somebody?
Yeah,
like,
I think it was something like that. A lot of weird shit happened on the Wii.
Yeah. Nintendo, you weirdos. All right, let's stop talking about Nintendo. We're not going to talk about Nintendo at all for the rest of this. From here, we're going to talk about Cyberpunk 2077. So last week, there was a whole thing about the gender options in Cyberpunk 2077, about how, like, they basically are going to allow you to mix and match, right? So there's like a dude body and a lady body, and there's like a dude voice and a lady voice, and like it doesn't say like man or woman. It's just like, which body do you want? Which voice do you want? Like, which customizations do you want? So like, and I don't know, there was some people that were a little bit about that. But then this week they got even less relevant, because they came out and said that basically all the cutscenes in Cyberpunk 2077 are going to be first person, because it's a first person game. So you're going to be seeing this stuff mostly. So then people were like, well, who the fuck cares about customization? It's like, well, you'll still see your character in mirrors, in the options menu, and then every so often there's going to be a cutscene where you see them outside, but for the most part, the game's all going to be from first person. So, I mean, in that case, it kind of just puts the kibosh on the whole, like who gives a fuck what you look like thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of games that do that just like, what is the point of it?
Yeah. Like, you customize your silent protagonist who's going to be just in cutscenes, like staring at a person, just, and
he like nods his head, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just, I just
Destiny. Yeah. Why does it? Yeah. You remember in Destiny 2, there was like a mission, it was the mission where Cade got killed, and then like after Cade got killed, there was a cutscene where they were all talking, and then your character finally speaks for the first time in 2 Destiny games. Everyone's just like, "Oh my god!" And it was like, oh, "Really? Okay, all right."
They didn't even get Nathan Fillion to do that level thing.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I kind of got tired of Cade, even though that video that we made for that Destiny 2 expansion, I think might be one of the funniest videos that Amanda and I have made in the history of all of Rage Slide.
Oh, jeez.
And that nobody watched it because it's about Destiny. We got a little bit more Cyberpunk news, where it appears that the Cyberpunk is going to be going the Grand Theft Auto Red Dead route, where like it's going to launch with the single player, but then there's going to be a multiplayer component they're working on that's going to come later.
Oh, okay.
Which I kind of got to wonder what that is. One of the biggest problems with single player RPGs like this, is it going to be PvP? Is it going to be PvE? Like how much
It's gonna be a camping game.
How much custom story content is going to be in there? Like, do you go online with your friend and then play a mission with your friend? Or is it just like, it's like Grand Theft Auto. You're all in the same place. Fuck each other up, I guess. Like, you could do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which is weird, because I don't think that CD Projekt Red has ever had a game with multiplayer.
Not that I can think of.
Also, people were mad, I think, about some people were mad about the first-person cutscene stuff, because of all of the kind of the way that The Witcher was very cinematic, and you were seeing Geralt all the time.
Having sex on unicorns, that kind of thing.
Yep. No unicorn sex confirmed for Cyberpunk. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if there's totally unicorn sex. So, yep. We got that. We also have some news about Gears 5. If you want to be medium actor / popular WWE man Dave Bautista in Gears of War multiplayer, Michael, I don't know what the fuck is going on with Gears of War multiplayer. They're like,
don't know either.
You could be a Terminator, you could be Dave Bautista, you could be a Halo guy, and it's like, what? Is this Smash Brothers, but for the Xbox universe?
It's for Dude Bros. It's the Smash Brothers version of Dude Bros.
So apparently, Dave Bautista has for a long time been bugging Microsoft about playing Marcus Phoenix if they ever make a Gears movie.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
And so the movie rights for Gears are somewhere else, but like the Coalition, I think it's the name of the guys. The Coalition is the one making the. The Coalition. They were like, well, we can't do anything about the movie, but we could put you in the game. And so, yep, you could be Dave Bautista.
I'd be super excited if only he has an invisibility perk if you hold it completely still.
The thing is that apparently he's just a reskin for Marcus Phoenix. So
that's kind of fun too, actually.
But okay, to me, there's like a weird difference in my mind between Drax and Dave Bautista, because Dave Bautista, he was in like what was he? He was like the heavy in one of the, like an action movie. Was it like one of the Mission Impossible movies or something like that? Or no, Bond. He was a heavy in Skyfall.
The last Bond.
Or okay,
he's in Spectre.
Or
actually, yeah, he's in one of them.
And he's been in like a lot of those weird movies where it's like, oh, this movie has.
He's also in Blade Runner.
Oh, that's right. He is in Blade Runner.
Yeah.
He kind of washes over my mind when he's not Drax, because he's never given a character that has like a lot of personality, and Drax has so much personality. I also feel like he's in those movies that you'll see from time to time where it's like, oh, here's a movie with Sylvester Stallone and Dave Bautista, and it's just got them on the cover looking at the front like, oh, grr, and I'm like, what is this?
He had that Uber movie not too long ago too,
like about driving.
It's called Stuber.
You
didn't hear about this movie?
No,
it's a movie where he plays a cop. This is the actual premise, people. He plays a cop who got his eyes dilated, and then right after that finds out about like this thing that he's been like trying to find. So he can't drive. So he calls an Uber at a guy named Stu and forces him to drive him to like crime scenes and shit. It's just like supposed to be this buddy cop like movie. It's him and can't remember the other guy's name. He was in that first episode of Twilight Zone. I can't remember his name. Indian actor.
Yeah. What the fuck is this? I've never heard of this in my life.
They even screened it at RTX, actually. I could have saw a free screening where they had a Q&A right after.
What the
And the only reason I did it because Ben from one of us was like, that movie's terrible. Don't do this.
His name, oh my god, is Kumail Nanjiani? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Kumail Nanjiani.
I'm sorry.
Nanjiani. Yeah, he's the one who wrote that I already forgot the name of it.
Oh, like Sick or
yeah,
The Big Sick?
Yeah, which is very, very popular.
And he's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you'll see him and you'll be like, oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Very easily. But yeah, he plays an Uber driver that has to drive Dave Bautista as a cop around because he got his eyes
dilated. Yeah, sure, man.
That's the actual premise of that movie.
Sure, whatever you say, Dave Bautista. Also, apparently there was a Gears 5. Apparently they're going in hard on it, and there's going to be updates for it every couple of months. So there's a story about how they're planning on doing every 3 months. There's going to be like a big content expansion for Gears 5. I actually haven't really played it yet. It came out early on the Game Pass Ultimate.
Okay.
But which right now, if you have Game Pass, you can upgrade to Game Pass Ultimate for like $2 for 1 month and then just like knock it back. So if you want to play Gears of War 5 like several days early and you've got the $5 a month Game Pass, you can kick it up to the $15 one for $2 and then totally like roll it back.
Well, that's what that ad is that keeps popping up on my Facebook.
Yeah. Because I downloaded it and then I tried to play it today and I was like, why won't you play? And it was like, because you don't have Ultimate. And I was like, oh, and they were like $2, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, cool.
I'll play that, I guess.
I mean, instead of the $80 collector's edition, I could pay $7 for fucking Game Pass. Sure.
Game Pass is so great.
I don't know. I heard, I didn't know this, but apparently it's open world, and so I wanted to like go and find out what that's about. I played the tutorial of it and I was just like, all right, this is fine. But yeah, I don't know. There's opinions seem a bit mixed on it.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of mixed opinions, just kidding, they're all bad. So one of the big standouts this year at E3 was Ikumi Nakamura, who was the art director on Tokyo Ghostwire. She's the lady that came out that was all super cute,
super adorable,
spooky. Yeah, that lady that worked with what's his face, the guy that made all the rest of those.
I don't remember.
Anyway, Snap announcement this week, she's leaving Tango Softworks.
That's kind of surprising, actually.
Yeah, she said, after 9 years as creative director and art director at Tango and ZeniMax, I felt here is one of ends of the journeys. I learned from talented people I've worked and I respect. And so the question here is, because the last line of this tweet is, contact me if anyone wants to work with me, with a link to her LinkedIn profile. So I don't think this is like she got poached. I get the feeling that something happened, like something bad happened here, and that she left because she doesn't appear to have like another thing lined up. There's been some question about like, does this mean that as the creative director, she finished all the like artwork and concept stuff for Tokyo Ghostwire and it's just like left the development of it to the Tango Softworks team? Like, we don't really know how done that game was. They showed concept art at E3, but it wouldn't be the first time where there's like concept art, but the game itself is actually along in development. So
I don't know. That's a tough call, because it could just be that she's like, well, I just want to move on kind of thing.
Yeah.
But she probably didn't have like a plan for that, but she just felt like it was a good time. But you never really know with some back end stuff like that.
Especially with Japanese game developers, they're so tight-lipped.
Very secretive. We still don't know the whole story of a lot of different companies like that.
Yeah. But it is strange, that she's left, especially after,
becoming internet famous.
Yeah, becoming internet famous. So I don't know, or maybe that just she was like, well, fuck you guys, I don't want to be under. I'm gonna go make my own game.
She became a prima donna.
Yeah, I don't know.
The internet loves me. I'll make money. What?
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
I doubt that's true, but it'd be funny.
Go to the internet. Twitter is not happy, or is both happy and not happy. I think the thing that a lot of people are just confused about is like, what does this mean for Tokyo Ghostwire?
It really does, actually. That's what I was thinking right away.
Because she'll probably get work, and then we'll see what happens. But like, does this mean that Tokyo Ghostwire is canceled? Does it mean that it's going to be like reworked, or does it just mean that her part in it was just creative director, not like programming or gameplay director? She finished all the concept art and the way that the whole game was going to look and was just donezo. It's still weird though, because I don't think I've ever heard of that situation happening before, where an artist is like, publicly like is just like, well, I'm done with this, even though the game is not out yet. I'm checking out.
Well, usually if you hear something like that, it's because they decide to go in a different direction. It's
right.
Usually how you find out, like that sort of thing. Like with Matt Frank and that Power Rangers movie thing that he drew for that Landis guy.
Oh, Max Landis,
yeah, he did it as like a favor or whatever. But that's that sort of thing. That's when you hear about that sort of thing, is they're like, well, this was an idea, then they went with another thing. That's the closest you ever hear about that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's strange. It's very strange.
The other thing that's really strange about it is that I don't feel like we would know this if she hadn't, like, at E3 kind of become this hit, right? This thing that everybody was just like,
well,
yay.
that, and she outright tweeted about it.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what's also interesting about it.
I also like the fact that her profile picture is just a stick figure version of her doing the little thing that she did at E3.
I think that's kind of amazing, actually.
So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. The other thing we'll see about is whether Remedy manages to fix Control. There's been a lot of reports out there about how on stock PS4s and stock Xbox Ones, Control kind of runs like absolute shitballs, which actually, having played further into it with Amanda, I can understand, because you start to get powers that let you like kind of start destroying the environment, and like everything goes flying around like in a physics model type of thing. But apparently they're come out and they've said that they're working on a patch to try to improve the overall performance, but that it's probably going to take a little bit of time to implement. That's kind of sucks. I mean, like, Amanda and I have been playing Control. We've seen a couple of bugs. One of them is where when you pull up the map, it brings up all of the text of where things are on the map, but doesn't actually show you the map graphic that's supposed to be underneath it, which makes the map absolutely useless. Speaking of which, apparently they're also going to be trying to change the map a little bit to give players a better idea of how to get from point A to point B. Because it's like you're going around in this building, but the building doesn't change, so it's kind of an open world. It's kind of an open world Metroidvania, like you're opening up new sections of the map.
Yeah.
So you are constantly kind of going back and forth between different places on the map, and sometimes it gets really tricky about just like, how the fuck do I get there? Because it's just a big bunch of squares, and it kind of shows you where things are.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're also going to be trying to implement like a picture mode, like a photo mode, which has some people a little bummed because the game doesn't have HDR support. So if you're playing it, on a Pro or an Xbox One X, apparently you don't get because I don't know if you've really seen the difference between HDR and non-HDR, but like the colors all just get like super better in a game like this that has this very kind of gray palette for everything, but when the hiss come in, it gets very red and spooky and shit. So, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I am really, really enjoying Control so far,
which is really good to hear because I really like Remedy a lot.
I 5 hours in, and I think that it doesn't have the weird 20-minute TV episode breaks that Quantum Break had, and I like the tone of it better than Alan Wake, because Alan Wake was all about fucking weird Kmart brand Stephen King guy, whereas this is like SCP Containment Breach, and I'm like, I'd rather have this one than that one over there.
I really like Remedy's stuff. Their stuff has always been really good for me.
Yeah.
Like at least from when I started, which was the Max Payne series 1 and 2 that they did.
Yeah.
Which I think is phenomenal, and yeah, I really liked Alan Wake a lot. And I never got a chance to play Quantum Break, which I do still plan to. Because it is on Game Pass.
Game Pass.
So
we should be calling this the Game Pass podcast. It's just every week. It's just like, goddamn, I'm glad I've got an Xbox One X, because like
it's super great.
Fuck. There's so many games on there.
But I have to clear some space on that Xbox because it's still only the 500 gig one.
Yeah,
it's like 102 gig install.
I was very close to buying one of the games that we're going to play for Patreon on the Xbox, and I'm like, I haven't done that in a long time. There's a whole days that have gone by where I haven't even had my PlayStation 4 hooked up. I'm just like, what madness is this? Well, it's because we're out of PlayStation 4 exclusive land, right?
Yes.
So like, and then also last week I went back and played all of Hitman 1 over again because I didn't have anything unlocked in the Xbox One, and I just want to be like, yeah,
all the things.
Yep. Let's see. Speaking of consoles and not consoles, Steam is updating their UI a little bit. They're making these changes to the library in this new update that's coming out into beta on September 17th. Apparently, it's just like kind of when you click on a game in your library, kind of a different set of information comes up. Like one of the things they're highlighting is like whatever the most recent update to the game is, like how many achievements you have. It's a little bit easier to find.
Oh, okay.
This is nothing terrible. It does, though, bring to mind the question of like, this was not the thing that was a problem on Steam. The thing that's a problem on Steam is the front page, not the library section. So,
baby steps.
Come on, Steam. Get your shit together. Come on, Epic. Put in a shopping cart. You know what? There's no story about the Epic Game Store this week, but I'm still going to say put a shopping cart in it for all you Epic Game people that listen.
Still surprising.
Let's see. The biggest story of the week, though, the greatest and most grand story of the entire week, Michael, is that they changed the way you can make steps in The Sims 4. I don't know if you know this, but people are really freaking out over this because apparently
I know I was silent there, but I made a face
right
as he said that, and I wish you guys could have saw it.
So in the stock Sims 4, there is one staircase, and it just goes at an angle up. Well, this week they added in the ability to make you can make an angle in your staircase. You can twist it in different directions. You can make kind of a spirally staircase.
Oh, geez.
And so if the one thing keeping you from The Sims 4 was, people were complaining because it meant when you had that long staircase, you either had to put it in a hallway or it was always just the same thing in your house, right?
Yeah.
One wall that just had a big staircase on it. But yeah, if the one thing keeping you from playing The Sims 4 was staircase options, there you go.
People are going to make batshit insane stairs, and you know it.
Of course. Of course. Of course.
Something that's just going to get a guy to throw up 5 times on it.
Sure.
Kind of thing.
We got some trailers. Red Dead Online put out a trailer for Frontier Pursuits that looks awesome, but I'm sure that's not how it is when you're actually playing it in the game.
Yeah.
This is the one that brings in the 3 new classes. So you've got bounty hunters, you've got trapper hunters, and then you've got like treasure hunters. And then so it looks like there's a whole kind of like, voiced NPCs with a quest line that go on that. Apparently, you can also go in now and you can just edit your character. So if you made a mistake and you want to change your character around, which considering that Brian Brushwood and I made the most horrible monstrosity of all time, might be something that I'd go ahead and do.
Well, that character editor sucked, at least in the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know if it got any better since then.
All I know is that I'm still like waiting for that critical point where there's so much extra content in Red Dead Online that I can go back to it and be like, oh my God, this is a whole different game that I can play single player or with friends.
I already uninstalled the thing. It's just so massive.
Well, yeah, keeping Red Dead Redemption installed is a bit of a bear. We also got a new trailer for the Outer Worlds, the Come to Halcyon trailer. You know what? I like this trailer.
It's a fun trailer.
You know what? It's fun and it's funny in a way that makes the way that Borderlands is quote unquote funny seem super forced. Whereas, like, I feel like, when you're looking at, you get kind of a cheeky futuristic game, right? And then in Borderlands 3, it's just like, look how crazy we are. We're so crazy. Ah!
Look at all these dick jokes.
Yeah.
And
here's
just like these clever little things.
Yep. Just like whenever they say guaranteed, a little thing comes up that says guaranteed, not guaranteed at the bottom.
Every time. And like you'll see things where it's like homes. There's a big old evicted sign on one of them.
Yep. You know what? It's funny because this looks better than the last Fallout game, 100%. And it also looks a lot better to me than Borderlands. Like when it comes to just space action, I'm like, space RPG. It's fun to make us in space, and I'm totally down with that.
Well, it feels like a more lived-in world a little bit for some reason. Like I know there's like animals and stuff in those Borderlands games, but there's something interesting about the way the animals are here that they've shown at least.
There's also just like civilization that's not like Mad Max style weirdo raiders.
I guess that's true.
And everybody's not trying to be a fucking edgelord supreme.
That's funny because it accidentally kind of reminds me of the idea of what Rapture kind of is in the beginning, like what it could have probably would have been in the beginning of BioShock.
Okay,
like that sort of like, hey, you look at this new life that you could have, but like everything's kind of shitty for the person.
Yeah.
But I really like the tongue-in-cheek thing where they're just like, we will take literally anybody as long as you're not super, super dumb.
Right.
And you have to be like ridiculously dumb for us to not take you.
And I like the way it looks too. Like it very much looks like an old Fallout game, but like, with new graphics. Like when you look at the characters walking around, they have that kind of, everybody's got a kind of a basic, like nobody's super expressive in their faces.
Yeah.
Everybody's just kind of basic, and there's a lot of like idle animation stuff. I don't know. For some reason, it's charming to me, but I like all of the kind of old 1920s and 30s kind of weird Western style stuff that they've got going on.
It's got a great aesthetic. It looks like it's going to be kind of fun with some of its humor. And it just looks like it'll be fun gameplay-wise so far.
Yep. I can't wait for it. I definitely can't wait. Let's see. From there, speaking of games that you might be excited for, I don't know, Michael, you said don't know if you're excited for Greedfall or not because this trailer is just, what?
I don't know what the hell's happening in this trailer.
Yeah.
Like somebody starts saying some stuff, and then it looks like this whole sort of...
Then the music is so loud you can't hear what they're saying.
Like Pilgrim Invasion almost kind of thing.
Yep.
But also, like, I don't know what the fuck's happening.
It's like, it seems like there's like this weird island, this sort of like colonial kind of island, and that like people came and they started like building there, and then they just chopped down all the fucking Treebeard's friends, and then like industrial revolution is bad, and there's like native folks that live there that are one with the land, but then there's like monsters. I still can't tell. This is one of those Focus Spiders games, and like I don't know. I cannot tell whether this is going to be good or bad, or like whether Focus is just so good at making trailers that like it looks cool, but my radar is tingles. Like it looks cool, but this trailer is just nothing but cutscenes, right? So,
well, my radar is doing that thing where, like, when you're on alert and it's just like staticky and you have no fucking idea what's going on.
Yeah,
that's what mine's doing every time I look at it because I have no fucking idea what's going on half the time. It's just like it could be good. I just don't know. I have no idea if I'm excited or not.
Yeah, because if near as I can tell, it's like a third person action game. Like it's kind of like an Assassin's Creed game almost, but then with like monsters and powers and stuff like that. I've seen a little bit of the gameplay of it, and I don't know. It looks like it could be kind of interesting, but then it also looks like a janky fucking spiders game. So I don't know. I guess we'll find out next week. Like motherfucker comes out next week. So good question mark. Also, it looks to be for people who really like Brotherhood of the Wolf. Like if you like Brotherhood of the Wolf, you probably like this game. Let's see. We also had a trailer for Rebel Cops, which is another game from the people who made This Is Police and This Is Police 2, where it's like it's like an XCOM style game, but the whole thing is that this small town is taken over by a gangster, and like most of the cops just go rogue and start like kind of trying to retake the town.
I like how they all have cowboy hats though in their little screens there.
Yeah, they've all got those small town cowboy hats. It's a weird looking game. I didn't really care for This Is the Police 2 because it didn't really hook me fast enough. But yeah, this one seems to have a whole like you're gonna need to steal from the bad guys to fund your weird operation, and then you're gonna need to do like missions for local people to like build up your trust in the community, or else people won't mess with you. And then apparently the big thing is if you get shot, you die. Like if you get shot once, you're probably gonna die.
That's crazy.
Like it's kind of a Rainbow Six style thing. But then by the same token, you are still cops, so you want to try to like arrest/handcuff the bad guys instead of murdering them. So
that's a little unfair.
Yeah, kind of reminds me of SWAT games. And last but not least, we're skipping this one. Homeworld 3 got announced at PAX. Is it the folks that currently own it, the Blackbird Entertainment? They're making a Homeworld 3, which there's the same company that made Deserts of Karak and the Homeworld remaster, which I don't know if they ever fixed. I really need to go back and find out, because it was broken to the point where people who liked Homeworld couldn't play it because the formations wouldn't stay.
Oh, okay.
And like that's really important, having your ships in the right formation. So I don't know. I mean, this looks very, very Homeworldy, what I'm seeing here. I just wish that I hope that it's not brutally difficult like the original Homeworld was, because the original Homeworld should be my favorite game of all time, but it's so goddamn difficult that like I get oh, you fucked up 4 missions ago, Michael. Time to restart the game. I know this is the last mission. You need to go back to the first third of the game and do those missions better, because there's no give in the difficulty. So
yeah.
Yeah. All right, we got a couple more things, and then we can get to a couple of questions here. Let's see. Celeste is getting a free Chapter 9 DLC.
Oh.
That's coming out on September 9th. This is actually going to be 100 new levels.
Oh, wow.
And 40 minutes of like brand new original music. It's kind of like their farewell, new story content. Big update. So if you're into Celeste, which I kind of got a chance to see a little bit more.
People really like that game.
Yeah, I've never been as enamored with it as I am with some of the other ones, but I don't know. If you're into Celeste, hey, that's a bunch of brand new content. Speaking of brand new content, Uplay Plus or whatever launched the Ubisoft subscription service. It's like $15 a month, and you can play every Ubisoft game. Apparently, though, it's all buggy right now. They're trying to fix it, but currently it's a little bit difficult to use. I would expect nothing less of the launch of this service.
Well, they can't, everything's hard for them.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Good for you, Ubisoft, for trying something.
I just think that the problem right now is that Game Pass is $5 and this is $15 and it's just Ubisoft games, and I'm like,
well, EA has their thing too, right?
Yeah, EA Access. That's only $5 as well, though.
Really?
If this was $5, great,
Oh, okay.
But I don't want to play. But then again, I feel like Ubisoft has more games that people has more. Well, I don't know. Ubisoft has a lot of games that have a very dedicated fan base. Like the people that like The Division, they fucking love The Division. People like Rainbow Six Siege, they fucking love Rainbow Six Siege.
I think it depends on the selection. Like if it has all the Splinter Cell games or all the
I believe it does. I think it's pretty much most of what's out on, or most of what's still compatible with Uplay, but
okay,
or with
because there's a lot of great Ubisoft games, legitimately.
Yeah.
So.
And then, hey, maybe you want to go back in time. Maybe you want to play some old classic games, and maybe you never got a chance to buy a PlayStation Classic, that horrible piece of garbage that is easily hacked, and you can totally put ROMs on it, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? GameStop will sell you one for $20.
Holy shit, really?
Yep, go buy one for $20. And I'm telling you, they don't go online. They were hacked the first day they came out. There's no way for Sony to upgrade this thing so that it can't be hacked. You could totally hack a PlayStation Classic, like, super easy.
That was crazy.
I don't like, you just put shit on a USB key, right, and like plug a keyboard in, and like blah blah blah, you're done. It's hacked. You can at least put whatever other PSX games, including non-PAL versions. You put the NTSC versions of the game on there, and it'll totally run them. And then I don't know if there's been a lot of homebrew since then, but I gotta say, for $20, it's not a bad solution to basically. No. If you want to play some old PlayStation PSX games, $20.
They're having a hard time just giving those things away at this point.
Yep. Well, and the fact that they were hacked the first day and that I think that they did that on purpose, because I feel like if Sony really cared about it, they would have recalled them, retooled them, and then put them out. But like, they left the encryption key on the system.
Yeah.
So like
they just gave that shit away.
Yeah, like the first day somebody was like, okay, it's done.
Like the entire thing is here. They left the keys inside the car, basically.
In fact, the company, God, what are they called? Not RetroPie, but there's a company, the company that makes the SNES Bluetooth controller that I have, which is 8BitDO, actually makes a thing you can buy off of Amazon, like retail, that's a Bluetooth dongle for the PlayStation Classic that will let you play with a Bluetooth controller. So you could play with a wireless PlayStation controller.
Nice.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you're out there, if you're thinking about it, boom, boom, boom. Also, and I probably shouldn't say this because I want to keep it under my hat. You remember about 6 months ago when you and I talked about the Raspberry Pi, it was the G Pi that was a Game Boy?
Yeah.
Those are back in stock.
Oh, okay.
You can buy them now. They're $70 for the kit, and then it's like a Raspberry Pi Zero, that is the thing that goes in there, is $20, and then you just need a micro SD card. Boom, you're done. So
nice.
I actually ordered one, and I think I might make a video of just putting it together, because it seems like it's super easy to put together.
Yeah, I know you kept like looking at it every time I came over.
Yeah, every so often I would look at it, and then it was just like, oh, they're back in stock. All right, last but not least, we got a little bit of Death Stranding news. That's not the tweet. Nope. So apparently Death Stranding is going to have a very easy mode. Kojima tweeted, normally there's only easy mode, but we added very easy mode for movie fans since we have real actors like Norman, Mads, Leah starred in. Even Yano-san, who never completed the first stage of Pac-Man, was able to complete the game on very easy mode. So essentially, Hideo Kojima's like, if you just want to see this weird movie, you can complete it on very easy mode, and you don't have to worry about a lot of the gameplay stuff.
I actually kind of like that idea, though.
Yeah. This is actually a reply to another tweet from Ayako that says, finished Death Stranding test play. It took a month as I was playing while doing daily work since 8.6. As being a beginner, I picked very easy mode. According to my boss, this mode is for people who usually don't play games, movie fans, or RPG fans. Normal or hard mode is for action game fans. Now, I think it's funny because, I mean, Michael, what could possibly be controversial about just putting in an easy mode for people who want to play a game on easy?
People are weird. Somebody's probably already saying something in that comment section.
Oh, the comments in this tweet are amazing. The first one just says, why be in the video game industry if you just want to make mediocre movies? And it's like, well, there is a hard mode, right? Like there is a video game in there,
That's
right?
not the only mode it has,
right? But a lot of the comments in here are begging Hideo Kojima to rename it Game Journalist Mode, because there's this whole thing online about how game journalists can't play video games, and a lot of it came from, you remember that guy with the Cuphead thing where there was a game journalist and he couldn't get past the tutorial in Cuphead because he literally wasn't doing what it was saying to do on the screen. And then there's been a lot of people out there. It's that weird hardcore, I play every game on super hard, And then it's like this weird backlash that like, well, game journalists, all they do is play every game on easy, and they even complain that they can't beat it on easy. No, Sekiro doesn't need a difficulty slider. Like, I want hard games, and it's offensive to me that anybody. You remember when they put easy in Super Mario or in Star Fox? Star Fox, and they were just people were just real mad about it, or the way we remember when
they were mad about the Funky Kong mode,
right? But Mario Kart 8 came out, and I agree that by default they had the kind of like bumper mode on to keep you away from the edges where it would nudge you back onto the track, but you could totally turn it off. And even because that guy made that guy that made that video that was like, look, I'm just gonna like hit I'm going to hold down the accelerator and I'm never going to touch the controller, and I totally won, and this is what Mario Kart is now. And of course, people like Jim Sterling came out and they were like, you played on the easiest of difficulty modes, you played the first race on the easiest of difficulty modes, and you held down the button. You cannot do that on even medium. Like, the computer will whoop your ass on medium if you try to do that. But I don't know why it's become such a thing that it's offensive that there's a difficulty slider for people who don't have, like, the idea that games should only be for people who are just like, fuck, man.
They're running out of ways of coming up with gatekeeping things.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. It's like, because a lot of it's just like, games are for dudes, and it's like, well, they're not. Well, it's like, well, they're for people who like hard things. It's like, wait, that's what?
No.
Like, they're just like trying to find other ways of gatekeeping and trying not to be called racist and sexist at the same time.
So,
it's fucking weird. People are fucking weird.
I guess it's weird to me because I've never been a fan of hard. I mean, like, I had to be kind of convinced to play Demon's Souls because of its reputation about how hard it was. And then I went and played it, and it was like, oh, well, it's not hard. It's just, it's got a set of rules, and if you follow the rules, you'll be fine. And if you are just like, I'm going to play like God of War, and it's like, you're dead, and that doesn't work. But, you can't play Mario like Sonic. So, and the idea that like every game needs a hard mode, or every game must be hard without the ability to make it easier. I mean, Bayonetta had a fucking one button mode, right? You remember that?
Yeah,
the jerk-off mode for Bayonetta?
Yeah. the issue is a lot of people, for some reason, see the harder difficulties as being the true fan. I'm going to use the quotes, the true fan.
Right.
Like, I remember, like, I'm going to bring up Halo. Of course, I'm going to bring up Halo.
Oh, God.
The legendary modes.
Yep.
For years, people, like, if you talk to somebody and you're like, yeah, I beat Halo, like, 3 or something. It's like, well, did you do it on legendary with all the skulls on or something? It's like, no, fuck you. I'm not a crazy person.
Right.
Kind of things. Like, I did beat legendary, but I always did it with my friends, and we always just had, like, the most basic things when it came to it. But I've never, like, beat a legendary mode by myself, kind of thing.
Right.
Because I'm not a fucking crazy person who wants to just die over and over again, kind of thing.
And I mean, and I also don't feel like Hideo Kojima has a track record of making like games that on normal are just like for a baby, right?
Yeah.
Like on normal, his games are normal, right?
Yeah.
On European Extreme, Metal Gear Solid is hard as fucking balls.
Exactly.
And like, I had a friend who she desperately was trying to out trophy all of us, and the last trophy was get 100% in every level on Metal Gear Solid 4 on European Extreme, like no saves. Like, so you just start the game and you had to play without getting hit ever from the beginning to the end on the hardest difficulty mode, and it was the motorcycle at the end of the third act.
Yeah, that fucking level.
Like, where she was just like, fuck this, I am out. But yeah, I don't know what is so maddening about.
I don't know.
Like, you don't have to do it. Like, it's not even a golden tanuki suit. It's literally like, we've had this in video games forever. What difficulty do you want to play on? Medium, hard? I mean, like, what's the problem with having even harder as well as super easy? Ugh.
I don't know. People are weird.
Blah. Anyway. Now that I'm in a proper mode, let's answer some questions. We've got about a half hour here left.
Oh, we got time.
Yeah, all right, we'll push it a little bit over. Music Mondays writes in and says, hey, Jeff and Michael, just an opinion that I want to put out there. So at some point this week, I was having a small nostalgia trip looking back at some of the EA Sports big studios made, mostly the Street Series, SSX, Sled Storm, and Def Jam.
Oh, okay.
And I came to the conclusion that I do not want any of these games reissued or remastered by EA. As much as I want these games to come back to be played by newer generations, the company has fucked their current game mechanics so bad that I could see them trying to incorporate the same microtransaction bullshit that we have to deal with today. Just the thought of a new Burnout game filled with surprise mechanics to get a new paint color for your car would make my blood boil a little, because this company is so desperate for money to ruin a franchise this way. Am I being too whiny about this? Anyway, hope this post wasn't too long. Have a good day, Dong Lords, and that's from Music Mondays.
No, I get it. Like, I get it 100%, especially if it's like a way of unlocking things that you feel should already be easy to, or not easy, but like manageable,
accessible without money.
Yeah, because recently the Crash Team Racing game had the microtransactions added to it, and there's a lot of characters you just can't get without these coins. Like the whole half of the default roster you can't get without these coins, and it's on this fucking like loop thing where the store has to update every day for you to even see one of those characters.
Oh, right.
And they're doing the Grand Prix thing where it's like, these characters are available for this month, but you need this many fucking coins and this many times playing the game to even consider unlocking these characters, kind of thing. And it's a pain in the ass, and it destroys my enjoyment of that game pretty much entirely, kind of thing. Like, Spyro's thing is out right now, and you would have to play a shit ton of it just to get Spyro.
Right.
And you'd have to use a bunch of the coins just to get the other characters.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating, and I could definitely see why... like if they came out with Def Jam, a new Def Jam with newer rappers in it, but the only way you could do it is you have to do this like almost mobile game type of currency to get them.
Sure.
It would just destroy that entire enjoyment of that, really.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with not liking microtransactions. Like, nobody should feel bad. I mean, I know that there are some people out there that will kind of defend it about saying, well, game development costs are so high, they have to do this, blah, 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 blah. My response to that has always been like, look, man, if your game needs to cost $80 to recoup the investment costs, and you made a fucking great game, I will consider paying $80 for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it doesn't have any of this bullshit, like if it was an $80 game that was essentially a game that also had all the season pass content, no microtransactions, no online hooks, nothing that would get in the way of my enjoyment, and was good. I mean, for fuck's sake, Michael, I bought Dark Souls 4 times by now,
Yeah.
Like, I bought it on multiple platforms. How many times have I bought Skyrim? Like 5? I don't even know. Oh, I guess I didn't buy the Siri version or the Alexa version. But
even then, yeah.
But, like, I'm not above paying money for games. So the whole idea of, like, well, games would cost more, I always say, then bring it, right? If you think that your game is worth $80, put it out for $80 and see if the market will stand that, right?
Yeah.
If consumers will eat that price hike, great. I have a feeling that a lot of consumers are not going to, because they're going to be like, well, it's 80 hours for a 12-hour. It's 80 hours. It's $80 for Homefront: The Revolution.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? Or it's $80 for Crash Team Racing, but it has microtransactions in it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, no. If you want more money, again, the thing is that this is a thing that we don't ever talk about, but like, video games have risen in cost over the years.
Yeah.
And it's been pretty static at $60 for a long time. And so I understand why companies a lot of times are putting out, season pass, DLC, even microtransaction stuff, because as much as I disagree with the idea that gamers are demanding higher fidelity graphics, I feel like the industry thinks that we all want higher fidelity graphics. I mean, I played more Overwatch than any game. That game is not exactly like, a specular lighting. Even like, Spider-Man on the PS4 is a very good looking game, but it's not like, it's not just like the best looking game I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. It's passable. I'd rather a game be fun than look like, modded Skyrim, right? Like,
I think The Order is a good example. It's like, this game looks gorgeous,
right,
but it's not really a game.
Yeah, it's not really very fun. So the thing is that if the industry thinks that it's time to take costs from $60 to $80, you go ahead and do it. But again, if your game doesn't sell because it's $80, well, that's not, it's what the market will bear, right? So if you keep pushing up development costs and you can't raise the cost of your game, and the only way to make your money back now is to fill the game with garbage, that's not my fault. That's your fault. Because there have been plenty of $60 games that haven't been full of this shit.
Yeah.
God of War, Spider-Man. Look at how much free shit came out for Spider-Man.
Oh, so many things.
There's plenty of games out there that don't have to do this horse shit that were fine. They were fine.
And even the ones that do kind of do it, they don't over, like, it's not insane. Like Mortal Kombat 11 has, like, Mortal Kombat or NetherRealm in general has been coming out with these $80, $90 versions of their games that have all these things with it. And people are buying it. Like, I bought the Injustice 2 one.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I think I bought the MK11 one as well. Like, it's because I'm fine with paying that much for everything kind of thing. Like, there's still, like, a little bit of microtransactions in it, but you gave me, like, pretty much damn near everything I wanted with just that price.
It comes down to the thing where if I buy a game for $60 and you put out another part of it that's $20 or $30 and it's good, and I liked the $60 game, I will totally pay that.
Yeah.
It's just this idea of just like, well, here's a $60 game, and also you can give us $5 forever.
Yeah.
Like, if you really want to unlock this axe, it's going to cost $170, and it's just like, well, no, that's too much. You need to fuck off.
Yeah.
The problem, of course, is that the people that are willing to spend that money, like, every one of those makes up for, say, like 2 or 3 people who would have bought the game if you didn't have microtransactions. So, like, a game has to tank really hard because the quotey fingers whales for microtransactions make up for not just one other person who didn't buy your game, but several other people. If one person buys FIFA and puts $180 into microtransactions for it, well, guess what? That's 4 people, right? Yeah. So the other 3 people that didn't buy your game, who gives a fuck about them? And it's even better if you do the math and it's like, well, because we put microtransactions into NBA 2K20, 2 people aren't going to buy our game, but then the one person that did is going to spend 4 people worth of money in it, in the dumb pachinko slot machines that we got in their game. And it's like, oh, well, we're boned. Because the other thing is that you can't get people not to buy video games. Like, people that want NBA 2K20, you're not going to be able to. That commercial last week, that shitty fucking slot machine pachinko commercial last week, did you see that?
I did not. I heard about it, but I didn't see it.
Like, the people that really want NBA 2K20, they're going to buy it.
Yeah, no, of course.
Like, that's not going to stop them. So, I don't know.
If it did, FIFA would have died a long time ago.
But there's absolutely nothing wrong, Music Mondays, with being leery about companies like EA or Activision. Like, I'm a big fan of past performance is an indicator of future, intent, right? So if EA's been acting like a shithead for 5 years and everything that fucking Bobby Kotick says sounds like garbage, and they've been flogging franchises, they've been doing Dungeon Keeper, and all the sports games are full of microtransactions, and FIFA and Star Wars Battlefront. Yeah, don't trust them. Yeah. Like, wait for the Metacritic scores. Watch a Let's Play. Watch Rage Select. Find out before you do it. Don't pre-order anything from them. So,
exactly.
Yeah. Let's see. Kyle writes in and says, "Hi, Jeff and Michael." He just addresses to me because I think it's about Dark Souls, but
okay.
But we'll see. I don't know if you'll read this, but I am in need of your sage counsel. I'm a patron, but the time difference means I'm unlikely to ever see you on the Discord server. First off, hi from South Africa. I'm a huge fan. My brother and I have been watching you since the loading bar days, and I don't think I've gone a single day of my life without a dose of Jeff. Oh my God. So thank you for years of entertainment. Anyway, Dark Souls Remastered just broke my heart and killed my soul, but not in a regular way. I got all the way to Seat the Scaleless, struggled a bit, and finally beat him on my 5th try, and no Lord Soul. I got the humanity, but not the goddamn soul. So now there's no way for me to finish the game. I'm playing on PS4, so I can't just find some cheat code or patch online. I'm just so numb inside. I was so happy with my loadout. I was rocking Havel's armor with medium roll, and I had a plus 12 Pyromancy Flame and 3 attunement slots, so I could carry both 8 regular fireballs and the 4 Chaos Fireballs at the same time. I also had a solid plus 10 longsword and a crystal shield. I was meticulously crafted, super badass, and now it's all over. Sorry for the randomness of this rant. I feel you're one of the few people on the planet who could truly feel my pain, and I've been wanting to reach out for a while. Thanks for reading, and again, thanks for all the content. Oh, I know who you are. He says, P.S. Please, please, please play MGS2 with John for Patreon. I've watched you guys play MGS1 3 times now, and I've rewatched you and Jason playing Snake Eater twice. I'm getting desperate, man. And that's from Kyle. Kyle, I don't know that that's going to happen. At least not for a while, because you and I just got done with Revengeance.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, I don't want to just be playing just either like we're going to play MGS2 and then we're going to play Sekiro because I'm a walking cliche.
Well, with MGS2, there is a shit ton of cutscenes in MGS2.
There are a shitload of cutscenes. It's also, it has not aged super well control-wise because it was like before they kind of started integrating a lot of that stuff together. I don't know. I mean, you can't just, like, you're still supposed to hold people up, but like you just got to run up behind them and like freeze, and then you got to drag them a little bit and like get in front of them and like turn around, and I don't know.
There's a whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear about your Dark Souls experience, but allow me to, I'm going to say this very, very, very gently, Michael. Would you make sure you check me, make sure I'm not too harsh about this.
Okay.
So, Kyle, I want to tell you with all due seriousness, your loadout, Havel's armor, plus 10 longsword, crystal shield, fireballs, medium roll, that is some I just started playing Dark Souls. I just started playing Dark Souls, and I like playing a tank character loadout, okay? Like, Havel's armor is the heaviest armor in the game, and you've got to put so many points into the carry, the equip weight skill, stamina, or not stamina, but like endurance, I believe, that this is a noob trap, all right?
Okay.
Because the armor does make the amount of damage that you take less. However, you had to put like 20 points into, or 20 or 30 points into like endurance in order to be able to wear that armor and medium roll. If you put those 30 points into your just health bar, you're going to be way better off. Because the thing is that, having more health and having more armor could be seen as the same thing, right?
Yeah.
They're both going to mitigate the amount of damage you take. The thing is that once you get to the end of the game, your Estus flasks are going to refill a huge health bar. But like if you've been focusing on just mitigating damage, the further you go up the difficulty tree, the harder the bosses are going to hit you, and you're just going to take more damage. And eventually all that armor you're wearing is going to be mitigated by the fact that like you could be wearing light armor, fast rolling, and have a huge fucking health bar that would be essentially give you more mobility, more stamina, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Kyle, I want to make you, I want to give you some advice. Go look up online a video. I'm going to tell you what it's called. I love this guy. He makes the some of my favorite videos. You might need something a little bit more than this, but this guy's got really he's got really funny videos. You might need to look for an actual guide on how to do this. His name is YMFAH, and look for a video called How to Make Giant Dad.
Oh, I heard about this.
Giant Dad is a build where you put on a decent medium heavy armor, and you get a giant fuck off sword, and then you pump so many points into health and the thing that makes it so that like when you get hit you don't stagger, so that you can just tank everything. Like if you go up to a boss, that boss is going to hit you for maybe a quarter of your health bar, but you're going to hit that boss for a quarter of their health bar. And when you're swinging your giant Zweihander at them, they can't interrupt the attack. Like you'll be getting hit and your health bar will be going down, but they will get hit at the same time. I actually went and made a Giant Dad, and like it takes a little time to make, and you got to go to a few late area places. But if you got to Seath, you're probably pretty close to there already. Once you got your Giant Dad loadout done, Dark Souls will fall before you. Also, people will not invade you because they'll come and they'll see that you're playing a cheese dick Giant Dad, and they'll just be like, oh, well, fuck this. Because, they're all spec'd out for magic, and you just eat their crystal soul spear, and you hit them one time, and they just die. And then the best part is there's an emote in the game called Well, What Is It? Where you essentially, you put both of your hands out, and you kind of strut forward, like what's up, bro? What's up? And that's like the emote for Giant Dad, is whenever you do something, you just go, what's up? What's up?
Oh, God.
Because nobody can stop you, so... Go do that. You'll have fun. Start over. Play a mage. Mages are OP as fuck.
Yeah, I remember hearing that a lot about the first one.
Yep. let's see. Mike writes in and says, it says, hello, Rage Select. 4K has brought the end of buying a movie indefinitely. As 4K Dolby Audio features have come through at the highest of the high-end market, it appears the end of buying films outright on physical media will fade. My Blu-ray and DVD collection is the new vinyl of the 1990s, with 4K and Dolby features cheaper on streaming via the rental market. I no longer find myself wanting to buy movies anymore with everything streaming. How do you feel? Is movie home ownership dead, and is everything now for streaming? I think video games are next, but maybe 5 years. What are the benefits of streaming? And that's from Mike. Sorry, there's a little language barrier going on there. I was trying to kind of translate through it. What do you think? Do you like buy physical media?
My roommate does. He buys every movie physically, like every single time. Like my apartment is filled with physical media because he's a big proponent of physical media. Because one, he loves the sheer amount of special features that are easier to get on physical media. Because they've come out with special features on digital more and more lately.
Yeah, but
a lot of the times it's missing chunks of it. And two, you never have to worry about it disappearing from streaming is the other thing.
That's true.
So that's one of the reasons he does it, because every now and then, like, we'll be like, oh, we want to watch this movie, but too bad it's not in streaming. He's like, that's great, but it's just right over there, and you just grab it and you watch it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's the same with games that way, because games are having that sort of same thing. I feel like games, physical games,
stuff going off of stores.
Will just stuff will just disappear. Like recently, DuckTales did, because that license disappeared.
I know Deadpool's had a lot of problems with that.
A shit ton of Marvel games had that happen to them. Marvel's Capcom 1 through 3 was completely taken off of digital because they had lost the license to it. Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2, all of its DLC was gone. X-Men Origins Wolverine was another game that also disappeared that way with its DLC too.
Oh, I remember one of the things that I keep looking for is Daria. Because the thing is that they have a version of Daria where they subbed out all of the 90s pop music for just kind of background filler stuff, and nah, man, that ain't the Daria that I watched. I want to watch fucking the way it was when it was on MTV.
In fact, I found out the reason the Drew Carey Show has never been released on DVD is because there's way too many songs that way.
Oh, right.
That were licensed that they literally could just not get anymore.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. But that's a different argument. The thing about streaming is I feel like there's some great things about streaming, but there's so many bad downsides to it. Specifically, stuff can disappear. Your internet can go out in the middle of it. You can be in an area with shitty internet. You can just run out of money to do streaming, kind of thing. And then you're just like, I want to watch this movie, but I don't have any good way of accessing it. And sure, you're just like, well, it's cheap now, but that's not always going to be the case sometimes.
I understand all of the arguments that come up in this. I don't watch special features, and I don't care. And trailers are all on YouTube if I want to watch those.
Yeah.
In fact, as time went on, the special features for DVDs and Blu-rays got to be more and more anemic, or the original home release wouldn't have it, and then there would be a collector's edition that did, and it was like, that's a fucking DLC of home release. I got to buy Lord of the Rings again.
I just did that for Ghostbusters, by the way,
because they put those Lord of the Rings out. Remember, they put the theatrical cuts out, and then they put out the extended editions, and then so I don't give a shit. I don't want to own anything anymore. In fact, the only reason that I buy physical media is so I can loan it to you guys. If it wasn't for that, I would buy everything digitally because I don't give a fuck. I don't care if they delist it, and I don't give a shit, because the thing that I found is that a lot of the stuff that was like, I'm probably going to be able to rent Indiana Jones if I want to watch Indiana Jones, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get to the nitty gritty here, Michael. Okay.
Well, I just gave all the bad sides because I figured you were going to give the good sides.
You want to get down to business? Here's what I have to say about that. I don't give a fuck about special features. And here's the thing: if I want to play a game or watch a movie and it is not available online, I will steal it. I will go to a torrent and I will steal it, because here's the thing: I'm more than willing to stay within the law, right? Yeah. But if you won't let me do it, well, fuck you. I would be more than happy to give. And in a lot of cases, you got to remember that, for I wanted to, I actually bought a physical copy because someday I want to play a sequential for No One Lives Forever 2. But see, the thing is that I bought a physical copy of it off of Amazon and then downloaded it off of a torrent site because I want it to be cracked and be able to mod it and stuff like that. And I don't want to have to open my CD drive because I haven't opened it in 5 years and I don't want to break my streak now.
Okay.
But like, if I was to steal No One Lives Forever 2, like the rights for No One Lives Forever 2 are so fucked that the Night Dive guys want to re-release No One Lives Forever 2, but like between the fact that it was Warner Brothers and it was like Atari and they got bought by this company, that then the rights went over to this one, but then part of the rights were for this guy, and they literally just don't want to find who owns the rights, and they don't want to give up the rights either because they're greedy fucks, and if they don't do anything, they don't give up the rights, right?
Yeah.
Like, if that's the case, well, like, look, it's not my job to deal with this, so fuck you. If I want to go back and play an old DOSBox game and it is not available on Good Old Games and it is not available on Steam, if I'm going to put it on Rage Select, I'm going to try to buy a copy of it to stay legit. But, like, honestly, on my own, fuck you. Like, that, like, if you don't want to release it, I will find it because there is totally a community that is taking this stuff,
Like I said, that's part of a whole other argument per se. Because that's why I left that other argument to the side. Because that's what it is. They're two different arguments but it doesn't really completely involve streaming. Is the thing?
Yeah.
Because the thing is, there's a lot of great stuff about streaming.
I like streaming.
A lot of streaming stuff. Like, I own Spider-Verse, but I was like, it's on Netflix, I don't have to get up, kind of thing.
Right.
Like, it's one of those things. Like, I own Spider-Verse because I love having it and its alternate version or whatever on Blu-ray.
There's also so many things that, like, if a movie that I wanted to watch isn't on streaming, I'll just watch a different movie.
Exactly.
I mean, like,
and there's a lot, like I said a bunch of bad stuff about streaming, but that's only because that's the argument against streaming.
Sure.
Like, I'm not saying streaming is a bad thing. I'm just saying if you really wanted to know if it's dying or physical meetings dying, I don't think it is, because people are buying vinyl again like fucking crazy.
I think it's becoming more of a niche product. I think you're finding it as more of a, because you know how there's that company that had that really weird E3 conference that does nothing but like do a physical release of like Transistor, right?
Yeah, I have a coworker. He I don't remember what the site is called, but he sent me the name of the site. All they do is release physical versions of just random things.
Of digital-only games.
Like, they came out with a physical version of, for instance, Psychonauts for PS4.
Right.
They came out with this special edition of, like, Jak and Daxter 2 for some reason. They came out with, like, a physical version of Toe Jam and Earl, the new one, that kind of thing. And they just do a shit ton of those things, and they're all very limited, and there's a lot of them. But that's the thing, yeah. Certain physical versions are niche. But yeah, I think you're right. It's becoming a little more niche depending on what it is. And some stuff I just like having and that kind of thing. And I like some of the stuff that they do with the physical ones. Like the Spider-Man and Doom PS4 releases have a switchable cover. The same with I think a Dragon Ball game has it too.
I mean I like being able to loan them. Like I have this whole problem where when Bloodborne came out, I bought it digitally for Midnight Madness, right? I wanted to be able to unlock it at midnight.
Yeah.
And then, like, for years, I had to be like, Jason, you should play Bloodborne. And he's like, well, I'm not going to buy it. And I'm like, well, fuck. I can't loan it to you. I don't own it. Or like games like that. Like, I like being able to loan out games to people because I like being able to kind of be that resource for the folks that I know. But there's a whole argument about it that gets kind of very weird, and if a thing isn't available, it's weird for me because I see the opposite of what a lot of people say. It's like, well, if you have a physical copy, then you'll be able to play blah 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 forever, right? Like, yeah. But there's also games that are so expensive in the physical copy that are now just digitally available. Like, you can just put out a version of, like, there's a bunch of PS2 horror games that I really want to play, and they are like several $100s a pop. But then, the PlayStation 3 had a lot of stuff where you could just, hey, $10, Fatal Frame 3, go for it. And it's like, God, I love you. I never wanted to have to track down a physical copy of Fatal Frame 3 for the PlayStation 2.
Well, that was that's the great argument for it.
Right.
Thing. Like Earthbound, for a long time to get a copy of Earthbound for the Super Nintendo was like $100 plus. And that was just like the copy itself.
Yeah.
And now, they've re-released it on 3DS. They had it on Wii U at one point.
Yep.
And the prices just dropped immensely because of it.
Yep.
The same with Marvel vs. Capcom 2 originally. It used to be ridiculously hard to find a copy of Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And then when they re-released it at the time, everything dropped again. And it's just that's the great thing about digital is that you can definitely do something like that with no issues because it's just data. Kind of thing. You don't have to print it on anything anymore. You can just put it on a marketplace and people are going to buy it.
Also, I've seen what Jason Murphy and Brian Salisbury's houses look like. I don't want to own that much physical anything. I don't want to have to move it if I move. I don't have to worry about it being ruined by like a fire or something. Like, no. Exactly. I generally don't like...
He doesn't like stuff.
I don't like things. Yeah, like if it was up to me,
I think I bought you like 2 things for your birthday. No, 3 things at one point, and I think you've only mentioned one of them at one point.
I mean, I didn't take Solaire out of his package.
Yeah,
because
that was one thing I got you.
Yeah,
actually, that's 4 things I bought you then.
So. I don't like stuff. I don't like things. So for me, it's like if you could put it all onto one device that has everything that I could ever want on it, I'm cool with that. Way cool.
I'm a lot more like that nowadays, depending on what it is.
Yeah. All right, we don't have that much time left. Let's see. Okay. I wanted to do some of these Discord questions, but I think we're gonna hold off on those because we got this one, and I feel like it's a good one for you. This says, hey, Jeff and Michael, over the past couple of years, I've been having trouble getting into newer anime. To me, all the styles just seem too samey. I'll catch my wife watching the new shows of the season, and most of the time I can't tell them apart. When I do watch anime these days, it seems like I gravitate towards stuff from the 80s, 90s, just because the styles feel more varied and expressive. A good art style goes a long way for me. Maybe I'm alone on this. I don't really know how much you guys keep up with, but what modern anime would you say had a good, unique art style other than My Hero Academia? Haha. That's for putting on a great show every week. Or thanks for putting on a great show every week. It really helps when I'm driving around delivering packages. Have a good one. That was from JD. I actually don't think that the My Hero Academia style is especially like standoutish.
Well, it's only standoutish.
Character design's good, but
I think it's only standoutish because it tries emulating comics more.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it really unique. Plus, the animation team on that is fucking like stellar as hell.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of good stuff out there. I would definitely say if you've not watched Mob Psycho 100, watch Mob Psycho 100 and especially Mob Psycho 100 Season 2. It has a lot kind of a interesting style to it, like visually.
Basically, it and One Punch Man have these very similar, really unique styles of their own, especially the first season of One Punch Man and Mob Psycho.
Well, Season 2 of One Punch Man kind of sucks visually.
It's not great.
It kind of sucks visually.
Yeah, they have these very unique styles that are really great to look at, and especially since it's very simple but very detailed at the same time with certain characters. This isn't super recent, but I think it had a great art style, which is Space Dandy.
Mm-hmm.
Space Dandy harkens more to the 80s, 90s style. And it's just batshit insane. It's made by the guy who did Cowboy Bebop, but it's more of a comedic show. It's also not too long. I think it's also 26 episodes is what I want to say. Tiger and Bunny, I think, had a great one as well, but that one's also not too super recent.
I mean, Agretsuko is definitely different than your normal anime. And then there's this... what is this one? I just found out about this, but I haven't watched it yet. It's called Rila Kumu and Kawaru, and it's a stop animation anime, basically. It's on Netflix, and it's all stop animation. It's this woman that lives with these giant, kind of like weird Sanrio bear monster things. I
think there's a lot of good stuff. Like Goblin Slayer, I think is really nice artistically. I hear Demon Slayer is really good as well. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I think, is great because every single season is artistically different from each other because they try to emulate the actual manga for it. So, like for instance, Jotaro is going to look different between 3, 4, and 5 parts, kind of thing, because that actual manga artist's style has changed over the years. And so, if they ever come up with a part 6, he's going to look even more different, kind of thing. And I think that's really unique in that sort of sense.
Megalobox also just looks different. It's got a more of a throwbacky kind of feel to it than a lot of
very gritty
newer stuff. Also, if you feel like going back a little bit, the guy that does, it's the same guy that did Gunbuster, Fooly Cooly, and like Dead Leaves.
Oh yeah,
which is very frenetic, very kinetic kind of style. I mean, I definitely get it. Like, it's one of the things that turns me off about a lot of anime these days. I'm just like, ninjas, great. Or that cop show, I might go back to it, but it's just like, this is so generic looking, and it's just like the cop's new partner is this fairy girl who's like a cop in the fairyland, and like, they don't get along, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, cool.
I do get it too,
sure.
Especially nowadays, because back when we were younger, anime that came to the U.S. was usually just what only people considered the good stuff.
Yeah.
But now with the idea of streaming and online sites that just have everything, now you start realizing that there's just a shit ton of things that are basically the same thing.
Yep.
And it's harder and harder and harder to filter it out. But luckily, there's also a lot of people online who are really good about helping people with that sort of thing.
Also, it's weird because I closed the question. I'm sorry. Also, it's weird because I feel like when you talk about, like, you say that they visually all blend together. I mean, it'd be like looking at live action and be like, well, all this is just people in like offices and like buildings and on streets and shit. Like, it all looks very similar. Like, I feel like one of the big draws of anime is like, well, what are we doing with this concept?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like, I'm not a big fan of medieval anime, but I really do like That Time I Got Killed and Reincarnated as a Slime, because it's kind of a weird comedy. It's like One Punch Man, but with a slime, and the slime is the One Punch Man. In fact, there's another one that I want to watch. It's just I hate Crunchyroll's app so much.
It's not the best.
And it's called. I saw this one on a few different places, and it's called Do You Love Your Mom and Her Two-Hit Multi-Target Attacks?
Oh, I heard about the show. Apparently, it's really good.
Yeah, where it's like a guy and his mom get sucked into an MMO. Oh, good. This is again. It's like, but they have to pick weapons at the beginning, and so the kid like picks this sword. It's like super powerful, and the mom picks like 2 swords.
She just grabs them both
that are even more powerful, and so she's kind of like a ditzy housewife with big hooters who's kind of oblivious to like how embarrassing she is to her son. There's a lot of like, I don't know, feel like inappropriate sexual jokes and like
there's a lot of weird shit going on.
Hugging the son up on her boobs and stuff. But then like, yeah. And I'm like, I like it when they take something, I'd rather watch that. I keep looking at the stuff that's come out, and like Vinland Saga keeps coming up about like animes
it pops
to watch.
Up a lot.
And I'm like, no, I don't want to watch Vinland Saga, but I will watch Do You Love Your Mom and Her Two-Hit Multi-Target Attack?
I hear it's amazing, by the way. Like a lot of people on Reddit say it's really good.
But like, I mean, I haven't watched it yet, but I hear, John likes Fire Force a lot, which
apparently that's pretty good.
Which may look a lot like other anime, but like the subject matter means you're going to be getting more like, I don't know, weird fiery stuff. Like, if it's just the look of stuff, I don't know. It seems like
I was really into an anime recently called Konosuba.
Yeah,
which is another kind of thing where a guy gets sucked into this world, but it's fun because it's a really fun one because it's because he gets hit by a car like pushing a girl out of the way, but this like god pops up like, hey, you did something good, but that girl was going to survive anyways if he had done nothing, so you kind of died for no reason. But we feel kind of bad, so we're going to throw you in this fantasy world, and you're allowed one thing that you can take with you. And since he's like, well, you're kind of being a bitch, so I want to take you with me. She's like, wait, what? And so he forces this god girl to go with him. And she like at first she's just like, I don't want to do this, but the other god lady's like, look, it's not against the rules. He can totally take you.
I think you just described like 30% of all anime. Like,
it's really funny.
Like, I'm not like I would say a statement like that, and it would be an exaggeration, but this is not an exaggeration.
No,
that's like 30% of anime,
and that's just the first episode, and it's really funny actually, and it's because he's just living in this like MMO type world with like this god lady, and he ends up meeting a bunch of other crazy kind of type of RPG characters, and it's really funny.
Damn, I put on this trailer for this Fire Force. It looks pretty rocking.
I hear it's really good.
Pretty rocking show.
People were telling me Fire Force is pretty good. Demon Slayer here, like I said earlier, I hear is also really good.
Yeah,
a bunch of my coworkers talk about it a lot. There are a lot of sports animes apparently that are really good.
Yeah,
that have some really good art styles as well.
Yeah, I don't know. You can figure it out. You figure it out. I mean, the biggest thing I think is going back to this Dr. Stone too is another one that's kind of on my list. In Promised Neverland, guys, you can keep telling me, but I don't know that I'm really.
I feel like that one's a little too dark for my taste at the moment. So,
but in any case, yeah, let's wrap it up there. Yeah. Sorry we didn't get to any Discord questions. We'll see what we can do next week. This is already a super long goddamn podcast.
Yeah.
Michael, where are you when you're not sitting here talking about anime with me?
You can sometimes find me on oneofus.net.
Okay, there you go. MailRageSelect.com is the email address, and also, as always, patreon.com/RageSelect. On there. You know what, Michael? You know what? In a world, I would just say, if you've listened all the way to the end, you're probably a fan of Rage Select anyway, but I'm going to just tell you right now, in a world... You know what, Michael? Okay. Let's take it on back. Okay, here we go. Take two. Patreon.com/Rage Select. Why? Because I've never tried to sell you a toothbrush. Ever. Every week you get like 2 hours of podcast. I've never asked you to buy
We've
a
never
mattress
brought up erectile dysfunction
or a toothbrush or anything like that. Like, I don't think they would actually advertise on here, but I've never even tried. God damn it. I say, I'm tired of listening to it on other people's podcasts. I'm not putting it on my podcast. So there, mailrageselect.com, patreon.com/Rage Select. Do it. You don't want to have to listen to mattress ads, right?